22nd. There's an investigation underway right now into that shooting. We know that the Madison police officer who shot and killed him, police say that he was armed with a knife, Corey Ruiz was, and had injured an officer, which led up to that shooting. But right now, the funeral is underway. We've seen protesters, so many things happen over the past couple of weeks. We saw an encampment that was put up for Corey Ruiz. We've seen memorial sites for him as well, all leading up to this day. Just about an hour ago, attorney Ben Crump spoke. He's representing the family of Corey Ruiz. We know that attorney Crump has represented several high-profile cases related to this, including George Floyd as well as Breonna Taylor. So we will bring you some of his remarks here that we just heard a little bit earlier, if we can get them here. Looks like things may be buffering a little bit there, so we might take a minute before we bring you that here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. But another big story that we are following as well is that a man was just charged and arrested and connected to the deaths of 3 people. Let's take a look at the mugshots that we just got here. So Milwaukee police believes Elena S. Cole, who is on the right side of your screen, was told by Thomas Zollicoffer, who's the man charged, about the homicides. Now, Milwaukee police believe Cole let Zollicoffer stay in her home despite a confession and left her children in his care to go out drinking. Now, Zollicoffer is facing 7 felonies right now, including 3 intentional first-degree homicide charges. Cole is facing harboring and aiding a felon charges and 3 counts of neglecting a child. So that's another one of the big stories that we are following here. Another is an update to a fire that happened at Lincoln Avenue School back at the end of June here. We got new surveillance video showing what exactly happened. We are going to bring that to you right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. But a lot of big stories, a lot of things going on today on this Friday. Let's give you a live look outside right now. Pretty cloudy day out here. We're sitting in the mid-70s. You can still see that fog out there. Not as bad as it was yesterday, but we are hoping to stay dry heading into this weekend. Going to bring in meteorologist Lisa Michael now. Lisa, oh wait. All right. Let's see here. Okay, I'm pressing all of my buttons here, Lisa. This is the fun of the Live Desk, is these things happen sometimes. But Lisa, hoping to stay dry today and heading into the weekend. Fingers crossed. I don't think we can hear.
Can you not hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now,
okay.
Lisa. Go ahead.
You know what? It's been a Friday. There's just been
really
some tech issues. It's just, I think everything's ready for the weekend, including our technology to get a break. So we are tracking a little more cloud cover out there, and that's going to stay with us through the day today. The big story of why we're still having this pattern is there's this stubborn area of high pressure that's stuck to the south. And so that's continuing to bring heat headlines to areas from the Mississippi Valley to the Gulf Coast. But that high is pushing the jet stream further north, and that really is preventing the jet from moving too much, which then is giving us better chances of these stormy conditions as we are moving through the past week. So that's really why our pattern hasn't changed too much, and we have been tracking more showers and storms in the forecast. Right now, the big issue that we've been noticing in terms of heavy rain and storms has been across central Illinois into Indianapolis. That is where there's been a continuation of flooding concerns since this morning from the activity which is training, which essentially just means that it's moving over the same area again and again and again, and then the soil can't hold that moisture. So flooding has been a concern there, but we have been very lucky here that we're far enough north from it. Most of the moisture is evaporating prior to reaching the ground. Now, what's helping that is we have a wind off of the lake today, so that is trying to feed in a little drier air from the north, which a little goes a long way in this case. So even though we're seeing some of the cloud cover, we're not seeing much in terms of rainfall. Let's take a look at Sky Vision Plus, because we're going to continue to monitor what could happen through today, and mainly looking to stay dry. So your Friday, especially if maybe you're planning on heading going out to State Fair, should be good. Evening plans should be good. We do have to watch maybe an isolated shower crossing the border as we move into tonight, but again, even that could struggle. So I wouldn't be too concerned with showers in the forecast early this evening. What we are going to watch tomorrow morning is there's some uncertainty of what's going to play out. Sky Vision here is going to show you the better case scenario, but there is the potential of maybe an isolated shower or a storm getting close to the border. If we do see a thunderstorm develop, we will have to watch it for heavy rain and very strong winds, but we may get lucky and in fact see nothing. And that would be even better for us who want to enjoy the weekend, because we're still looking at having a warm and muggy weekend ahead, but not looking to be as favored as much in terms of rainfall on Saturday then. Saturday night into Sunday, there's indications that maybe an isolated shower or storm could move through. Most of that would be when you're sleeping, and then we'll start to change our winds with the front moving through on Sunday. So that could bring some gusty winds, maybe an isolated shower, but most of the weekend we are looking at staying dry. Notice the dew points. Our northeasterly winds are trying so hard to bring some drier air in from Sheboygan to Port Washington. Still going to feel rather muggy across most of the region though, and we'll hang on to that over the weekend. We have temperatures in the mid to upper 70s right now. We'll continue to see some low 80s inland, upper 70s near the lakefront, and again hanging on to some upper 60s even by tonight. So even as we head into the evening and temperatures fall, the muggy air will stay with us. Not looking to change much of that in the forecast. What we are hoping for again is a drier weekend, and still looking to hang on to some dry conditions by Monday. It's going to be Tuesday, Wednesday that we will see some rounds of energy pick back up again with some fronts that we might have some chances of showers and storms back. So, overall, at least our temperatures aren't scorching hot, but it is still going to feel very muggy at that, and we are going to have to continue to watch for some chances of showers and storms, Maddie.
All right, good to hear that we'll probably stay dry this weekend. I know a lot of people probably have plans outdoors. Lisa, thanks so much for joining us here on the live desk. Actually going to switch gears here now because we have some very special visitors in the FOX6 building right now, coming overseas, actually, some fellow journalists of ours. Let's bring in Stephanie Quirk, joined by the entire crew here. Steph,
I know.
Tell us who you have with you.
Okay, yes. So this is one of the coolest experiences I've had throughout my career. Honestly, you guys are amazing. So we have a group of journalists visiting from Africa through the International Institute of Wisconsin, as well as the International Visitor Leadership Program, U.S. Department of State. And we had the best conversation, but I'm just going to hand them the mic. That's why I'm holding it like this, Maddie. And they're going to say where they're from and what they do, or what we do it all. We're journalists, but they're going to come, and that's how we're going to kind of do this. Who wants to be first? Who wants to go first? Okay, yeah. So, and then you'll just pass it along.
Hi, I'm Cassandra from South Africa. I'm a producer, presenter for current affairs programs on Ukhozi FM, hired by the SABC. The SABC in South Africa has 16 radio stations that broadcast in different languages from South Africa. South Africa has 12 official languages. And it's been such a great experience being here. I've learned so much about the United States, how the government works, and how the journalists here are incorporating AI into their work, and also just having great conversations about where AI is taking us and the state of our newsrooms. We just found out that we're experiencing the same issues back in Africa and here in the US as well. So it's been a great thing to see that we are experiencing the same challenges.
Great. So, hi. I am Nana Esibrumoni. I'm a broadcast journalist in Ghana, West Africa. I also broadcast news. I'm a reporter as well. I host the news and then a health program. Coming here to the United States, I had so many different perspectives about the United States because this morning we met and I was talking about the tips culture, which, the tips culture, which I didn't really understand why there should be a tips culture. But then we came to Fox News, and there's this talk about artificial intelligence. What is artificial intelligence? AI is what everybody's talking about. And it's been awesome so far with Stephanie. Also about the fact that what we are experiencing in our parts of the world is the same thing. I was telling her about how bloggers are taking over just everything that we are doing. The bloggers, they are just taking over everything that we are doing, and it really hurts in a way. And then the human element that we need in journalism, that is also being taken away. Now you go to homes and then you find people, everyone is holding their phone. What are they doing? They're not even watching TV, they're not listening to radio. Yeah. So AI, artificial intelligence, is taking over. What are we as journalists doing? We have to join the train. Thank you.
Hello everyone, Sandrine. I'm the Deputy Director General for Rwanda Broadcasting Agency, which is the national broadcaster. What I've noticed during our time here is that we are all the same person. We are moved by the same things. We love our families. We are worrying about the same things. We are just one person with different colors, different textures of hair, but we are the same person. So greetings from the land of 1,000 hills, Rwanda. If you love gorillas, if you love nature, please visit Rwanda.
Well, my name is Abakar Sadiq Suleimana. I'm from Ghana, the gateway to Africa, with the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. Yes. I'm with the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. It's a great experience to be here for the International Visitors Leadership Program. So far, we are learning a lot, from the cultural shocks to the experience and the exploration as far as artificial intelligence and technology is concerned. I say we are just divided by borders, but issues that are happening here are not far different from what is happening from our various countries. So we are only looking forward to what we can do differently to change the narrative, to ensure that we are really impacting lives. We are not just reporting. And we're also able to combat misinformation and disinformation from our various localities, because in the era of these bloggers we are talking about, the credibility of journalism is being questioned. And it has to take credible journalists like us, partnering with you here, to be able to change the narrative, to ensure that our people are not misled, they are informed accurately, and they are empowered to change our societies.
Hi, thank you very much. My name is Philbert Girinem. I came from Rwanda. I'm a reporter, a journalist, an editor-in-chief of one of the leading online newspaper in Rwanda. Like many of you know, Rwanda is 65% of the people that we have in the country are the youth. And now the youth are using too much AI nowadays. So we came here just to learn how also the best practices that we can do in our society, in our day-to-day life, the best way we can use AI, the best way AI can help us to do our job. We all believe that AI is not going to replace us. We're going to become a journalist. We're going to continue to become a journalist, but maybe we can use AI better to inform the public, to tell our stories. And you can also use AI to know more about Rwanda. Rwanda is like Sandrine said, it's a 1,000 hill country. If you love gorillas, you want to know more about gorillas, to know more about the history, whatever, you have to come to Rwanda. It's one of the best experiences you ever have the moment you ever visit a country. Thank you.
Ooh, one gun. Did you say we should come here?
Yeah, you can sit.
Oh, I want to sit.
Oh, yes. She's on the mornings.
Hi, hello everyone.
Right?
My name is Wilhelmina, but on radio my name is Nadidi Teti, and it's an awesome opportunity to be here, to be part of the International Visitor Leadership Program. I think that it's more like a jackpot, if I can call it so, because, I mean, you get to come to the U.S. and you get to visit different states, which sometimes it may surprise that some Americans may not have visited those other parts. But hey, here we are with this awesome privilege. And we're talking about AI as well, which is, we're looking at it two ways. There are people who feel that, look, it's threatening journalism. There are people who feel that is making our work more efficient. Where exactly do we stand? I think it will ultimately depend on each journalist or each corporation, media corporation. If you want to make it efficient, if you want to make it, your work efficient, you can do that. If you also want to, adopt a lazy approach to, you can also do that. We all use AI than we think. And so I think that as journalists, what we can do is to adopt it in our work in such a way that it makes us more efficient. It makes our job a lot lesser, because it can be very stressful to be a journalist. You all know that. And so let's find efficient ways of using AI. Let's not be too scared of it. I think that the fear mongering is becoming a lot all around us. But yes, it's been awesome being here, and thank you all so much for this opportunity. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. And then, wonderful. We're doing a little bit of interaction. I'm going in between two. Wait, did you want to ask something? And then don't worry, we're letting everybody go. But Maddie wants to ask a question, so I can transfer the question
this
to
is
the next
so
person. too.
fascinating to
Sorry.
hear all of your perspectives on journalism, especially with artificial intelligence, such an important thing to weigh. I think the pros and the cons of it, because there is so much good, but I think there are boundaries that need to be set in certain industries, including in the journalism industry as well. And it's cool to see that not just in the US, but across the world, journalists across the world are navigating that. Just wanted to mention that as well. This is such a journey you guys have been on. I was just looking up flights from Africa to Milwaukee, over 20 hours of travel time, probably even more, to be here today. What has your experience been like here so far? What have you done? Even not, it's so cool to hear about what you've studied here, but even just like on downtime, how has it been being in the United States?
How has it been being in the United States? 20 hours travel time? Oh my gosh. They just got here, Maddie, they just got here yesterday, right, you guys? Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
So, okay, she wants to know, what has your experience been like so far, just being here as a whole, in addition to all the things here in a local newsroom in the U.S. And that's, yes. Sorry, you guys, I'm like trying to, they know my chaos already.
You got
Maddie.
it, Steph.
Maddie, they already know.
Okay.
Go ahead. And then you can sit there and introduce yourself and answer the question.
All right, everybody. My name is Michael Akrofi Benson. I'm from Ghana. I'm with Despite Group of Companies, a private radio and television station in Ghana. I correspond from the eastern part of Ghana on general news. I'm privileged to be part of this program, that's AI and technology in the media landscape, and I'm very much grateful for the opportunity. I've learned a lot, and I keep learning. This morning we were doing AI and media technology, and then also how best we can use AI to diffuse misinformation and also to impact on our work efficiently. So I'm also grateful, and I'll keep on learning whatever I'm here to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. And guys, are you guys like jet lagged? Are you tired? Or? You're like, oh my God.
I think that I need to sit because I'm so tall and my head is. Yeah. I'm Euclid Zamadeo. It's a pleasure to be in the United States. It's my first time here, and I appreciate a lot to be here. I'm a journalist, reporter, and producer. I don't want to talk about AI because my colleagues always speak about it. What I want to do, I want to say is is only invite you to come to my country. South American Principe is 2 islands, beautiful, clean environment, beautiful seas. You can enjoy people people are very kindness, and it will be a pleasure to receive you in my country like you receive me in your country. Thanks a lot.
So amazing to have you all here. Steph,
Did everyone go?
Well, the experience I want to talk about, Planet Wed. Yes, there was a museum we visited in Washington, Planet Wed, where they are putting together the ability for you to read without necessarily staying to your screens. You've realized that in the era we found ourselves now, most people want to stay on their screens. Reading has become something people don't want to do. And this museum has put together an exciting way of reading that you don't necessarily have to read, but you have to take part in the reading, and it makes it lovely. And this is something I wish my country will be able to do a similar one so that we can inculcate the behavior of reading amongst our kids. Thank you.
Okay.
To talk about the museum visits.
Is it in DC?
Yes, and I was particularly fascinated because one of the museums was built by a Ghanaian. Yeah, the architect, David Ajay, and it was really an awesome experience. I saw the Gold Coast and I was happy. Yeah. And we went to the Museum of Natural Science. That's one of our coordinator, Mama Rachel's favorite. Yes, so she took us there, and we saw the evolution of humans.
Great. Humans are
Yeah.
We talked a lot about humans.
Yeah.
today, and the human aspect
Yeah.
of like we're all
Exactly.
we're all like just
Yeah.
humans.
And
We're all
one thing that
just-
struck me at that museum was you might meet your next relative.
You never know. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a quote like that. Yeah.
I've never been there.
Yeah. Yes.
Kindness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you guys are.
And then being a literature student, Wet Planet was it for me. It's the highlight of the visit. I totally loved that place. I wish I could sleep there.
Where is it? Oh.
Yeah,
yes,
in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also talk about journalism and.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm told I need to wrap.
This is so. I do have one more question.
Okay, Maddie has one more question.
If somebody could
This
answer.
is what happens when you put a ton of journalists in a room.
I know.
We
There's
could
so
have
many
talked for
things. We
hours.
could talk for
Efficient,
hours. And I
Maddie.
know we're wrapping up, but I just want to ask you guys real quick. This, for many of you, maybe your first time in Wisconsin. What did you know about the state of Wisconsin, if anything, before coming here?
What did you know about the state of Wisconsin before coming here? Or Milwaukee as a whole? And how many more questions can we, how much?
That'll be our last one,
Last
and then
question,
we'll
who
have to
wants
wrap
it?
up.
Yeah. I had an idea, but I really didn't know just how much when there is an election about how Milwaukee really takes center stage and has an effect on how the whole country, the results basically. So, and yeah, it's a beautiful place. I didn't know just how beautiful Milwaukee is. And yeah.
Okay, so what I learned about Wisconsin before I got here was about the Irish culture. That
Oh,
some
yes.
Irish
Irish
people live there. So I met someone yesterday. I looked at him and I asked him, "Are you Irish?" And okay.
You met two.
Yeah. So he told me that, okay, so from my mustache you can tell I'm an Irish, but I'm not. I have brown hair. Yeah. So he's not Irish, but I know that the Irish actually settled in Milwaukee. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
So cool
Wait.
to hear their experiences, Steph. We do have to go, but
Everybody
enjoy
wave.
your visit, you guys.
Thanks,
it was so
Maddie.
nice to have you and hear your perspective there. But oh my goodness, I was chatting with all of them earlier. It's 14 international journalists, for those of you guys who might have joined us halfway through. They came to the station today, and they're just having a roundtable discussion. Stephanie Quirk, our morning reporter, has been giving them the full tour, and honestly, she's one of the best people to do it, one of the most personable, and someone I very respect and look up to at this station. So I couldn't think of a better leader for these journalists, and just hearing their perspective, especially on Wisconsin, is so interesting, especially because we did just have our primary election on Tuesday, and talking a little bit about Wisconsin being a battleground state and the impact that it has just on the entire country as a whole. Very cool to see. We are so excited to have them here and wish them the best of luck on the rest of their journey here in Wisconsin and the rest of the United States. So we are going to take a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, but we'll be right back in 2 minutes. Stay with us.
Live Desk.
Approaching the half hour here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, let's go back and run through some of the top stories that we are following today. So right now in Madison, the funeral for Corey Ruiz is underway. That was the 38-year-old man who was shot and killed by a Madison police officer back in July. Now, Madison police say that Ruiz was armed with a knife and injured an officer, which did lead up to the shooting. We've heard several people speak prior to the funeral today, including the Corey Ruiz's family, the attorney of his family, Ben Crump. He spoke earlier to the media. He's represented several high-profile civil rights cases as well as wrongful death cases for African-American families. So let's take a listen to a little bit of what he had to say earlier prior to the funeral.
Others that will be speaking at this press conference. And then we just ask afterwards if you would just give us space so that we can process in with the family. Mr. Crump.
Thank you, Pastor G. I'm Attorney Ben Crump, along with Attorney Stephen Hart and Attorney Beavery Lamar. We have the honor of representing the family of Corey Ruiz. We have with us his mother, Elsa. We have his sisters, Veronica and Anna, and we have his brother, Adam, and a host of other family members with us. His daughter, Khalil, is very emotional right now. Where he was killed, she still has to walk by every day to go to school. And you all know from the previous press conference how very close they were. So this is an incredible, difficult day for them. Thank you, Pastor G, so much for allowing us to be in your cathedral, the fountain of life. And thank you for being one of the longest serving ministers here in this community as we try to heal the community, as we fight for justice for Corey Ruiz.
So yeah, this was just a few hours ago. That is Attorney Ben Crump prior to the funeral for Corey Ruiz, which is underway right now. Our Jason Calvi is in Madison right now to give a report once the services do wrap up. Another big story that we're following here on the Wisconsin Live Desk is new charges just come in in connection to 3 homicides that happened on Saturday. The man on the left side of your screen, Thomas Zollicoffer, is now charged along with Elena Cole. Just to give you some background, this is something that we brought to you here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, the arrest of Zollicoffer back on Tuesday here. We saw the live footage at the location where it happened, and there was a tense moment between officers and Zollicoffer. They ended up using a flashbang and then had to tackle him to the ground, actually, which did end up putting him away in handcuffs. So now these are the charges that we are looking at here from that wanted suspect. So here's what we know. We know that Zollicoffer, the man on the left side of your screen, is now facing charges, 7 felonies actually, including 3 intentional first-degree homicide charges. Cole, on the right side of your screen, is facing charges for harboring and aiding a felon and 3 counts of neglecting a child. We are going to dig into this more. Our Bill Miston is working on the case right now and just digging into what we know and the criminal complaint that we just received as well. We will be able to give you an update right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk when we do learn more. Another big story that we are following here is we have an update on that Lincoln Avenue school fire that happened towards the end of June. We just got the surveillance video of when it happened. Take a look here. Pretty incredible video that we're seeing right now. This is inside Lincoln Avenue School when the fire did start at the school. We know now that the building is uninhabitable and students are having to relocate for the school year as that gets underway right now. So this was just released this morning. More than 100 firefighters responded to the 5-alarm fire that, again, was back on Tuesday, June 30th. Now, Milwaukee Fire Chief Aaron Lipsky says that the fire originated from chemical-soaked cleaning rags that had to be discarded in a garbage can, which is what you can see right there, is that garbage can starting to catch fire. We know it ended up making the school, again, uninhabitable for students this year. So we are still learning more information about the fate of the Lincoln Avenue School building right there. But yes, we do know that the children are being located, and students and staff to Pulaski School, actually, for the beginning of the school year at least. When we get any updates, we will bring them to you. But again, this is surveillance footage just released this morning showing that fire begin to start, and what we now know was something much bigger than that we had to cover for days on end because the building just completely destroyed in this one wing where the fire did begin. We are going to take a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Those are our top stories that we're following, developing here, and we will continue to bring you updates throughout the day, but we'll be right back in 2 minutes.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
12:30 on your Friday afternoon. We've made it, you guys. Welcome into the Wisconsin Live Desk. I'm your host, Maddie Stull. I'll be with you here for the next half hour, and then Haley Spittler will be taking over. Let's give you a live look right now at a packed house in Whitefish Bay right now for a watch party for the 12U Little League team. They're representing Wisconsin heading into the Midwest Championship. Their game just got underway about a half hour ago against Iowa. This game will determine if the Whitefish Bay team will represent Wisconsin in the World Series. This would be making history if they do win today, because this would be the first time that Wisconsin would make it that far. So as you can see, Whitefish Bay community very excited here for this watch party. We know we had another watch party for the previous game that got them to this point. So yes, one step closer to getting to the World Series, and they've had quite the run here. Let's take a look. Score right now 0-0. So we're still hoping for somebody to get a run here and see what happens, but we will bring you any updates here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Our reporter Brett Lemoyne is at the watch party right now. Maybe we can catch something live on air of the game, but let's take a look at the tournament bracket right here. So as you can see, the championship game happening right now, Iowa versus Wisconsin. The 12U Little League team is representing the state here. So again, would be a historic run if they do end up making it to the World Series. As you can see, they face several opponents here to get to this point. So the game, again, just getting underway. We're about a half hour in. Score is still 0-0, but we will check in with our reporter Brett Lemoyne in just a little bit now to kind of get a better gauge of the energy. People seem hyped up right now. I wonder if we can bring up the audio and just take a listen a little bit. And we do know that the Little League World Series is in Pennsylvania, so Wisconsin would be on the road for that if they do end up taking the win today against Iowa. I love seeing all of the little jerseys, the Whitefish Bay jerseys. Looks like something good just happened. We were working through some tech issues here, but hopefully we can get Brett Lemoyne to join us in just a little bit here. But right now, again, live look right now at the watch party for the 12U Whitefish Bay Little League team. It's at the Argo right now. Oh no. I wonder if Iowa did just make a run. These kids have great reactions. You can tell how dialed in they are right now to this game. Looks like, oh, thought we lost it, but we didn't. But yeah, so cool to see all of the support that the community is giving for this team. 12U. So these kids are young. And they've made it this far. It's been such a run so far and quite the accomplishment for them. So we're hoping for a win today for Whitefish Bay to be representing Wisconsin in the Little League World Series right now as we take a look at this watch party live right now. We're hoping to have Brett Lemoyne join us in just a little bit, maybe talk to some of the supporters here. I'm sure a lot of these kids, their friends are playing out there right now. So great to see all the support, and they probably don't even know that they're live on air right now, which is pretty fun. So we can get some raw and real reactions here if we take a live look. All right, so yeah, we do know that Iowa did just score, so we're hoping for somebody to get a run here on the Wisconsin side. We want to be able to have them represent us headed to Pennsylvania for the Little League World Series. Again, would be making state history here if they do pull out a win today, because it would be the first time that Wisconsin has made it. So hopefully can be joined by our Brett Lemoyne in just a little bit here. But for right now, going to take a quick break. Going to keep monitoring this watch party right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, as well as some of your other top stories. We'll be right back in 2 minutes.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
12:40 on your Friday afternoon. Let's give you a live look right now in Manhattan, where we know Luigi Mangione just pleaded guilty to federal stalking charges in the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Let's give you a live look right here now as we take a look at some of the things that we did learn in the courtroom this morning. So we know that this is what he told the court, exactly quoting from earlier today. He said, "On the morning of December 4th, 2024, I shot Mr. Thompson in Manhattan and he died." In the audience, Thompson's wife, Paulette, took several deep breaths and repeatedly wiped tears from her eyes. Now, a supporter put an arm around the wife and held her tight as she was there hearing Luigi Mangione enter his official guilty plea. Now, prosecutors plan to seek a life in prison term for Mangione's sentencing. It's now set for December 18th. When the U.S. District Judge Margaret M. Garnett asked whether he understood that he could spend the rest of his life behind bars, Mangione answered neutrally, saying yes. Thompson's family later called the plea, quote, an important step to justice, and noted that Mangione still faces other cases, including a New York State murder prosecution. One of the relatives said in a statement through a spokesperson, quote, "We will continue to seek the justice Brian deserves." So we heard some quotes from the courtroom as Luigi Mangione described to prosecutors the actions leading up to the killing of the United Healthcare CEO. One of them being, quote, "I traveled to New York with the intention to shoot Brian Thompson." So this is a case that we've been following for over a year now. Again, this happened years now, actually. This happened back in December 4th, 2024. So nearly 2 years ago at this point, prosecutors say Mangione shot him in the back outside a Hilton hotel in Manhattan. You may remember the video of that shooting. We played it for you here on Fox 6, but did pause it before Luigi Mangione actually allegedly, according to prosecutors, fired that shot. Now, Mangione's defense team could attempt to raise a new double jeopardy claim with his guilty established in the federal case, but it remains unclear if he would prevail. So right here is the photo of Mangione when he was taken away just a couple weeks after the shooting did take place. So again, this is something that he still faces separate state murder case here. So this is only one of another case that he's still facing. So Mangione entered the plea at a hastily scheduled hearing in Manhattan federal court, resolving one of two cases against him. Again, Mangione's lawyers quickly sought to have his separate New York State murder case thrown out on double jeopardy grounds. So his defense lawyer, Karen Friedman, said outside court, arguing that her client shouldn't face two prosecutions over, quote, a single tragic event. Now, prosecutors didn't recommend a sentencing break for Mangione or give him any other incentive to plead guilty. Now, a defendant in a criminal case, that's according to his lawyers there. That's what they're arguing. But Mangione also saying that he didn't plead guilty to avoid a potential death sentence. That possibility taken off the table when a federal murder charge was tossed out this winter. Now, Mangione has alluded to back pain in explaining his actions. The surveillance video that I was talking about showing the ambush of a masked gunman, police say delay, deny, and depose were written on the ammunition, mimicking a phrase used to describe how insurers avoid paying claims. That detail and revelations that Mangione's private writings lambasted health insurers as greedy, according to authorities. Now, this is all according to authorities, made the case a fulcrum for debate about the industry and made Mangione a cause for some of its critics. Now, a University of Pennsylvania graduate, he is a University of Pennsylvania graduate, and he's from a wealthy Maryland family. But he told the court Friday that he pursued Thompson, quote, after years of enduring severe back pain, severe pain from a broken back and navigating the obstacles of the health insurance system. So his defense attorney later said that her client, quote, believed that the system had failed him and destroyed his life. Now, authorities are saying that Mangione's grievances are no excuse for the killing. Now, Mangione never was a United Healthcare customer, according to police and the company. So this is a quote from the New York Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch outside the court Friday this morning, saying, to those who idolize Luigi Mangione, I say this: violence is not a cause, murder is not a message, and a killer is certainly not a hero. So that is a quote from her. U.S. Attorney Jamie McDonald also adding that there can be no celebrity in an assassination. So again, giving you a live look right now at the courthouse right now in New York City, where his sentencing has been set here, as we can see. So again, this happened back on December 2024 right now. So we know that he has entered this guilty plea right now. Once we get any updates, we'll be sure to bring them to you right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. But again, Luigi Mangione formally pleading guilty to those federal charges, and pretty disturbing details as United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson's wife did sit in the courtroom. We are getting reports that it was difficult to hear. So we are going to take a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, but we'll be right back in 2 minutes. Stay with us.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
It is 12:48 on your Friday afternoon. Thanks for being with us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Right now, let's take you out to Whitefish Bay, where a watch party is underway right now. Looks like we might be getting a live interview from our reporter Brett Lemoyne as the light is turning on. A little bit of behind the scenes right here, but looks like we're about to hear from some supporters at this watch party. For those of you just tuning in right now, we know that there's a big celebration underway right now, community rallying around the 12U Whitefish Bay team as they are headed into the Midwest Championship against Iowa. The winner of this game will be headed to the Little League World Series, which will be the first time that Wisconsin has ever made it. So pretty big game here, a lot of excitement in Whitefish Bay. Let's listen in as Brett Lemoyne is doing a live interview with one of the supporters there right now.
Do you have a lot of friends that are there right now?
Yeah, I do.
Tell me about them. I mean, how long have they been practicing and waiting for this moment?
They've been waiting for it their whole lives. I mean, Whitefish Bay is they've never made it that far before, so
Wisconsin
it's great.
hasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, if they win today, what do you think the support means to them to know that? I mean, there's more than 100 people that are here today right now watching.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, the whole city of Whitefish Bay, it's a great atmosphere here.
Yeah. Recap, like yesterday was kind of a nail biter, right? Because they turned it around pretty late in the game.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What was that like watching that?
Well, I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I'm sure it was great.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Charlie. And you, sir, what's your name?
Owen Collins.
Owen and Collins.
INS, yeah.
Perfect. From Whitefish Bay,
From Whitefish Bay, yeah.
Same questions for you. I mean, what's your reaction just that the team got this far?
I mean, it's surprising because Whitefish Bay is like a really small town. We've just never really made it far. But in the past couple of years, we've won state a lot, so it's a step in the right direction.
What do you think is the secret to their success this year?
I have no idea. Good coaching. Yeah.
Do you know a lot of the players that are?
I do, yeah.
What's it been like for them? Just what have they been telling you?
It's probably been like, they've been telling me that it's the most exciting moment of their lives. That's what they said, yeah.
how big is this moment for Wisconsin?
Really big. Wisconsin's never made it to the Little League World Series, so
it's huge.
Yeah,
it's really huge. What do you make of just the crowd that's here today, cheering on, supporting the team?
very supportive. I mean, yeah, very large crowd. I don't know.
Yeah. If they win today, what's that going to be like in Whitefish Bay? I mean, is it going to be crazy?
Yeah, it's going to be the talk of town.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Oh, thank you so much, guys. We appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, just a few interviews with a couple of supporters here live right now at the Argo, where a watch party is underway. There's our reporter, Brett Lemoyne. Unfortunately, cannot hear me right now. We're working through some audio things right here, but so cool to see all of the supporters out here live in Whitefish Bay. I have the game right up. It looks like Iowa is up right now, 1-0. We're hoping that we can come back from this. And look at that. Wisconsin just scored. Let's see if you can hear everybody going crazy right now. So hyped right now. I'm so hyped for them too. Again, if Whitefish Bay, they're representing Wisconsin, if they win, they would be making history today, being the first. It would be the first time Wisconsin does make it to the Little League World Series happening in Pennsylvania. Right now, they're against Iowa, trying to be the team to represent the Midwest in this series. So again, the score now 1-1. Whitefish Bay did just score. So cool to see all of the support right here in Southeast Wisconsin. And there, look at that updated score here. So cool to get some of the reaction right here live on the Wisconsin Live Desk as we take a look. Very exciting for them. What a cool thing for them. We're hoping for a win, fingers crossed here for Wisconsin to represent the Midwest heading into this big World Series here. See if there's anything else happening right now. Looks like Brett may be talking to some of the folks out there looking to get interviews and stuff. So once we can get him there, we will bring it to you right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. But what an update. So exciting for them. Now the 1-1 score here. We'll keep checking in here, but such a fun event happening at the Argo right now, and so great to see all of Whitefish Bay around rallying and supporting their team. I'll leave this up here. We're going to take a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We'll be right back in 2 minutes.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Approaching the bottom of the 12 o'clock hour here. Haley Spittler's going to take over for the next 2 hours in just a few minutes here. Let's take you back out to Whitefish Bay at the Argo, where a watch party is underway for the 12U Little League team representing Wisconsin and potentially the Midwest if they win today. They're playing against Iowa to head to the Little League World Series in Pennsylvania. Let's see if we can bump up the audio here. We caught a live reaction to the team scoring on air. Right now the score 1-1. As I'm taking a look, I'm monitoring the game very closely right here, but very lively right here right now at the Argo as a little, oh, we're getting spun around here. Maybe not. Okay. Live look at the score here so you guys don't get too dizzy. 1-1 right now, Whitefish Bay versus Iowa. It's Davenport Northwest. These Little League teams are heading in right now. Very intense game, and so great to see the support. I will say there's nothing like Wisconsin and their support and loyalty for their sports teams at any level, even at the Little League, the youth level here, as we look at so many people, dozens, packing the Argo right now to watch the game on a big screen. I've been monitoring the game right here. Looks like Iowa did just get a run, unfortunately, but still high hopes for Whitefish Bay here as we take a look. What a crowd, honestly. You can see a lot of the kids here. We just had an interview, a live interview with a couple of them saying that a lot of their friends are on this team right now. So cool for them to see their friends on the big screen. I'm sure they're like, I know him. That's so cool. So great to see. And yeah, if they do make it to the Little League World Series, they would be making history, state history. It would be the first time Wisconsin made it that far. So definitely very exciting and hoping for a win today so we can cheer them on from the World Series championship or tournament in Pennsylvania, where they will represent the Midwest region. So we are going to take a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We'll keep monitoring this here. Haley Spittler going to take over in just a little bit. So keep it right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We'll be right back.
The Wisconsin Live Desk.
Vibes are high right now. Let's give you a live look at Whitefish Bay right now at the Argo, where, oh my gosh, that food looks so good. We're looking live right now at the watch party for the Whitefish Bay 12U Little League team as they're representing Wisconsin on the road, hopefully after this, to the Little League World Series. If they do make it there, they would be making state history. It would be the first time that Wisconsin's ever made it. We've been hearing from some of the supporters here, a lot of them with their friends on the screen right now watching this. The score right now is 1-1. We are hoping for a win for Wisconsin. I'm going to leave this up here. Haley Spittler's standing by. She's going to take you guys all the way to 3 o'clock, and then I'll be back with you for the last hour. So again, we'll leave this up, live look at the Argo, where a watch party is underway for the Little League team.
Careful here if you go back to that breaking ball. Slide ball 3. You can tell he's being very careful right now. It's just not the time because you walk the first 2 hitters. So yes, you want to be careful with this one, but if you're too careful, you end up with the bases loaded. A good bat, Anthony Johnson off the bat. That is a tough spot to be in. The decision to be aggressive on the bases there too, as Alvarado sends Paxton Smith on a ground ball that just kind of eats up the top spin that ends up being kind of an awkward play from the Wisconsin second baseman. Now they're going to intentionally walk Anthony Johnson and load the bases on the board for a pitch and change. First base, now they're going to move the outfield, move this a little bit faster off the bat. Competed, just misses here or there. All right, we got 3 more hits. Let's get out of this jam. You ready to play? All right, ready to play?
Hey everybody, Haley Spittler here taking over for Maddie Stelk on your Friday afternoon. Time check is 1:02, and we've been taking a live look here at the Argo in Whitefish Bay, where they are having a watch party for their Little League team. They're currently taking on Iowa, 1 game away from making it to the Little League World Series. They would be the first team in Wisconsin to ever accomplish that feat. If it seems like the crowd is maybe being a little bit quiet right now, you're not noticing as many cheers a couple minutes ago, that's because unfortunately Iowa just scored. So Wisconsin now down once again. It's 2-1 though, so plenty of room here to make up for that run that Iowa just scored. Adrian, what inning are we in?
We are in the bottom of the 3rd.
Oh, okay. Plenty of time for Whitefish Bay to score some runs here, reclaim that victory, and hopefully we can cheer them on as they make history. Again, they'd be the first team in Wisconsin to ever make it to the Little League World Series. Ultimately, that would be in Pennsylvania. They're playing today in Indiana. We'll absolutely keep our eye on that watch party and bring you any and all updates throughout that game right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. In the meantime, I want to take a quick live look outside here in Milwaukee. This is from our city center camera. You can see the sun kind of shining on us. We see those slithers of the blue sky as well. It is the pick of the weekend from our weather experts, Friday. This is your chance to really get outside. It should be mostly dry. I can think of several activities going on between Wisconsin State Fair and Irish Fest that I was at yesterday. So again, if you have any kind of dreams of being outside, it'll be easier today than it will be the next 2 days, but not a washout either. So I know maybe you're thinking, well, I have AJR tickets for tomorrow at the Wisconsin State Fair. That is who's headlining the main stage tomorrow night you should still be able to go. Just be weather aware for sure these next couple of days, especially as we head into the weekend. Lindsey Sterling, your headliner tonight at the State Fair. If that name sounds familiar, we actually had the opportunity to interview Lindsey here on the live desk just a couple of weeks ago. She's a violinist, but also a dancer, just really an artist. She brings such choreography and electricity to the stage. Gone is the day of just going to the symphony and, you know, watching those types of violin performances here. She has all sorts of lights and lasers and choreography, and check her out on TikTok. It's so impressive. But I know she was telling us how much she absolutely loves to perform at the fair, so I'm sure she is very excited that it is today at the State Fair. I'm going to take just a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Then we're going to be checking in with our reporter, Jason Calvi. He's in Madison right now, covering the funeral of Corey Ruiz. Again, that was the man shot and killed by a Madison police officer last month. So calls for justice from his family today. The reverend of that funeral, Al Sharpton, the family's attorney that they've received here, Ben Crump, also speaking out today, uttering and repeating just that call for justice after the death of Corey Ruiz. Of course, the DOJ still investigating that shooting and whether or not the use of lethal force was justified. So Jason Calvi is at our state's capital. We'll check in with him right after this break. Stay with us.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Haley Spittler here with you at 1:08 on your Friday afternoon. I'll be with you until 3. Then Maddie Stelk is going to step back in and she'll get you guys all the way to 4. In the meantime, I want to head out to Madison. That's where we're being joined live right now with our reporter, Jason Calvi. Jason, today the funeral service being held for 38-year-old Corey Ruiz. Of course, that is the man that was shot and killed by a Madison police officer a couple of weeks ago now. Since then, we've heard many calls for justice. We have seen those protests that have taken over the streets in Madison. And I know today we heard once again from the attorney the family has hired, Ben Crump. What was kind of his message beforehand, before the funeral started? I know he addressed media.
Yeah, so both Reverend Al Sharpton and attorney Benjamin Crump attended the funeral today in the city of Madison, and both of them spoke with the family beforehand and then had a news conference before the funeral with the mother of Corey Ruiz. And the message from both the attorney and Al Sharpton were that they're calling this shooting unjustified. That's their opinion. Now, of course, it is important to reiterate that Wisconsin Department of Justice is conducting its own independent investigation into what happened, and they're the ones that will determine whether the police use of force on this road where I am right here, this is Baldwin and Williamson in Madison, whether that shooting on July 22nd was justified. So that investigation is still ongoing, but at least Attorney Crump and Reverend Al Sharpton said what they saw in the video looked to them to be not justified use of force. But again, that's part of that investigation that the Wisconsin Department of Justice is carrying out. According to the Madison Police Department, Corey Ruiz had a knife and used that knife to injure one of the police officers who then shot Corey Ruiz. I want to show you where we are right now. This is that scene, that corner, that intersection that became a place of encampment for nearly 2 weeks after the shooting and death of Corey Ruiz. You can still see the memorial here on the street with flowers and candles honoring the place where that 38-year-old man lost his life on July 22nd. So just want to show you that. And you can still see on the walls here, I'll try not to show any swear words, but you can still see graffiti up on, you see the building across the street, you can still see the graffiti on the walls there that people had marked the road, the building with spray paint with messages like that one there that says justice for Corey. So that is the scene at Baldwin and Williamson in Madison, marking the spot where Corey Ruiz was shot and killed by Madison police July 22nd.
Again, Jason, I remember just a couple of weeks ago when we saw some of those protests. This was a much different scene here live on the Wisconsin Live desk as we saw, the demonstrators and the police. We saw some people even get detained at one point. So seemingly more calm today, but certainly still many of those tributes pouring out for Corey Ruiz. You pointed out the spray paint there that said justice for Corey, and that was, again, kind of the same message that was emphasized by Ben Crump, by Al Sharpton. Do we know what justice looks like for them? Is it the police officer being held accountable? Is it a change moving forward? What do they want? What does justice look like for the family here, Jason, if you know?
I think part of what the family or what the attorneys are looking for is they believe that, and as I mentioned, they don't believe that the shooting was justified. Of course, that is part of the active investigation of Madison police, as that the officers did have a weapon, a knife brought out, that Corey Ruiz brought out a knife and even injured one of the officers, according to what Madison police said. So that is what I think you're hearing from Attorney Crump, as well as from Al Sharpton today, that they believe that this was not a justified use of force, and that for them, justice would be the state deeming that this was not a justified use of force. If it was not a justified use of force, then that would entail charges against the police officer who shot. So that would be one of the steps. There will also be, if that they're doing an independent autopsy as well. They said they'll get the results for that in the coming days. But I think for the family and for the attorneys rather, it is to have that police officer potentially face charges if that would all come down to the Wisconsin Department of Justice deeming, if they did deem this to be an unlawful use of force, and that would entail charges. And then you could imagine after that a civil suit from the family of Corey Ruiz where they sue both the city of Madison and pretty much the city of Madison and the police department here, if that would be the next step moving forward. But again, this is that balancing test that investigators at the state level, independent of the Madison Police Department, have to look at was that knife brought out by Corey Ruiz? Did he injure police officers? Was that potentially justified use of shooting and then killing Corey Ruiz? What happened here July 22nd? What was it? Was it justified or not? That is still for investigators an open question. But according to Attorney Crump and to Reverend Al Sharpton, they don't believe that this was a justified use of force.
And to your point there again, Wisconsin DOJ is the agency currently investigating that. No timeline on when we'll get an answer. But of course, when they make a decision about the use of force here and whether or not it's justified, certainly something we'll pass along to our viewers. When we heard from Ben Crump at that presser, I know he mentioned that priority number one for the Ruiz family, specifically for his mom, was to have a funeral for her son. After that was kind of pursuing some of that justice. Obviously, the funeral again being held today. When you were even at that press conference, which was before the funeral started, what were the emotions like, Jason?
The mother of Corey Ruiz was heartbroken. She was crying. She was mourning the loss of her son's life. And that is what we experienced there during the ceremony, during the memorial service, during the funeral service. There were prayers, there were songs, there were speeches and preaching from Reverend Sharpton, and then also a message from Attorney Crump, and as well as messages from various pastors who spoke or prayed or led Bible readings there at the ceremony for Corey Ruiz. So there was also, at the end when Al Sharpton finished his speech, he got up and said, "Stand up for Corey, stand up for Corey," and people in attendance at the funeral did stand up and clapped for this after Al Sharpton spoke there at the funeral.
Again, this is Jason Calvi right now zooming in from us live from Madison at the intersection where Corey Ruiz, that 38-year-old man, was shot and killed a couple of weeks back by a Madison police officer. As we talk about that pursuit of justice and possible changes that could stem from this. Right now, Madison police officers don't wear body cameras, but we've heard from the mayor in Madison who says she plans on including that in the next budget. So perhaps one bit of change that will come from this. But again, the funeral held earlier today in Madison for Corey Ruiz, and Jason Calvi providing these updates for us. And again, you can still see the messages here, all from those protesters in this area talking right there about body cameras, actually.
And that was one of the messages from Attorney B. Ivory Lamar, who also is representing the Ruiz family, the fact that in the year 2026, he feels it's unacceptable for any police officers in the entire country not to have body cameras. I'll go through and give you a background for the story here in Madison about what's been going on here. They don't have body cameras. There was initially, there's been years of debate about that in the city of Madison. And at one point in time, the worry was civil liberties and worries that, if you know the book, the idea of Big Brother, but the idea that there's going to be a surveillance state and having cameras everywhere was some of the worries that people brought up when they opposed body cameras several years ago when this was introduced and debated. So that was one of the reasons. Now, according to city leaders, they are moving forward with having a budget this fall. The mayor's going to introduce that budget this fall. That will include money for the first time in her budget or in the city's budget to have money for body cameras moving forward. So you can see how the tide has really switched here in Madison, where originally years ago people opposed the idea of body cameras for the civil liberties argument. And now they're coming on board and saying that the Common Council, the mayor, they are talking about their support for body cameras and how they want to see them happen. So I think the tide has really changed on that here in Madison, but they are one of the few departments across the entire state that do not have body cameras. And it's really raised a lot of questions because in order to know what happened on this corner here back on July 22nd, we don't have body cameras. We have some eyewitnesses, some bystanders who had their cell phones out and reported this interaction in the final moments of Corey Ruiz's life. And so, but the officers themselves here in Madison do not have body cameras. And so it raises questions about exactly what happened. What did Corey say? What did officers say? What did they see? They're talking about how he had a weapon, he had a knife, and that he even, in fact, they say used the knife. And the body cameras aren't there. There's no body cameras to show us that. That is what we and in the witness videos you can see. There is an altercation or some sort of, whereas police are trying to arrest Corey Ruiz, and but it have a clear-cut camera angle of it. That's not what we have. There's no body cameras here in Madison. So that's been a part of the debate since the death July 22nd. And it's been moving now to the point where the mayor is saying the next budget's going to include the funding for those body cameras. And the Common Council president says that the tide has really turned, that where people used to oppose the idea of body cameras here in this city, now they're wanting to have those body cameras.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good clarification because as we hear Ben Crump and we hear Al Sharpton talk about the video, some people might think that's body camera, but to your point, that was witness video. That was people who kind of were bystanders seeing what was happening film. Yeah. We won't have those up close angles. But again, Madison Mayor is saying she's going to include that in her next budget. So another angle of this story that we'll continue to follow. But Jason, we appreciate you joining us here live from Madison on the latest of this story.
Thank you, Haley. Appreciate your time.
Again, Jason Calvi there at the intersection where 38-year-old Corey Ruiz was killed last month after a Madison police officer shot him. As he shows that spot in the road where the flowers are, that's believed to be the exact location where those shots were fired. Again, the funeral service held earlier today. Jason Calvi will have more from those messages from Ben Crump, the family's attorney that they hired, as well as Reverend Al Sharpton, and what the family had to say in his afternoon report. So definitely stick with us here at Fox 6 today. Apologies, I know as Jason walks around, sometimes we do see some graphic language. Obviously, emotions have run very high in Madison over this situation, so we do our best to try and prevent some of those words from being shown, and I appreciate your patience with us as we did that. We'll take a quick break here on the live desk, then we are going to check in with another one of our reporters right after this. Stay with us.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Haley Spittler here with you at 1:22 on your Friday afternoon. Of course, all eyes seem to be in Whitefish Bay, taking a live look here at the Argo. Again, that is where there is yet another today, Whitefish Bay Little League watch party, because the team now just one game away from potentially making history, being the first team ever from Wisconsin to make it to the Little League World Series. That does require a victory today. Right now they're down. It's the bottom of the fourth. Iowa currently winning 3-1, but they are far from out of this thing just yet. There is still plenty of time for them to score some more runs and hopefully walk away victorious. Certainly seeing a lot of support here, even back in Wisconsin as that game is played currently in Indiana. Want to go ahead and bring in our reporter, Brett Lemoyne, who is joining us. Brett, you're just outside the Argo. You've been inside watching this watch party, being with the loved ones, the friends, the families gathering. What's kind of the energy like right now?
Well, the fact that I'm outside should tell you something, because it's a rowdy bunch, Haley. They are having a lot of fun inside there, and it was very difficult to hear. But yes, it's electric, really. I mean, there's so many fans that are there. You see lots of youngsters for sure, but their parents are there too, and there's grandparents, and there's so many people that say, you know what? These are our friends. We've known them all of our lives, and we've been cheering them on nonstop as they make their way through this championship. As you mentioned, yes, they're right now trailing Iowa, but that shouldn't deter anyone, because this was kind of a similar situation yesterday when they were up against Missouri. and they pulled off a victory really right at the end here. So there's no doubt from the fans that they're going to be able to pull off this victory today.
Yes, absolutely, Brett. We have still high spirits here as we take a live look inside. So who are these people gathering? I mean, are these friends? Are these family members? Obviously, Indiana, not the easiest of trips to make, but they still wanted to support their team.
Yeah. So we've talked to a couple of people inside, and it's mainly just, classmates and friends that are inside. Surprisingly, we were like, where's everybody's parents? It's more kids than kids outnumber adults, probably 10 to 1. But yeah, they said, they had to come out and they had to support their pals on the big screen because they've got a huge screen that's up there at the Argo that you can't see at the moment. But yeah, it's just such a fun time. And they said that, they talked to these teammates here and right before heading out to the championship. And they said they've been waiting their whole lives for this moment. And the practices have been nonstop, and the dedication that it's taken to get to this moment has really been just outstanding. So yeah, they're thrilled. And I'm not kidding. When they score, it's insane. I wish I would have brought earplugs because they're going nuts.
Well, hopefully we're going to hear that many more times as they score some more runs. Brett and I we co-hosted Real Milwaukee today, and we were talking about yesterday's watch party, kind of gearing up for today's game. And I said it makes me almost emotional watching the footage, both of the players on the field yesterday when they clinched the victory, when they moved forward. Because one, I have a brother who's 11 who plays baseball, and I just picture him getting to accomplish this. This has to be the coolest feeling for these players, but it makes me equally emotional watching some of these other kids, be supporters, Brett. I think so often in life, it's easy to want to be, the star, to want to be the athletes on the field, but being someone's cheerleader, being someone's support system is equally as important. And to see these kiddos just embrace the role, and it feels like they're competing the energy they bring, to your point there.
Yeah, 100%, Haley. And that was echoed by some of the kids that we talked to just a few minutes ago. They said they wanted to come out. There was nowhere else that they wanted to be today than at the Argo. And the Argo did this yesterday too, where they kind of put up the big screen and they had ESPN playing and the live stream of the game. But even from outside the doors, you can hear it. You can hear the cheers that are coming from inside. It's really just incredible.
And Brett, I imagine everyone wants the victory today. Everyone wants this team to advance and be the first ever from Wisconsin to get to play in the Little League World Series. But no matter what, the message is probably, we're so proud of you already for what you've accomplished, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, they said, the fact that there hasn't been a Wisconsin team that has made it to the World Series is just something that they, have continued to repeat over and over again. Hey, we can do this. We can do this. We can take it across this line. This one game separates them from being able to say that they went to the World Series. So, yeah, a lot riding on it, but there's no doubt in the minds of all the folks that are watching that this is a possible victory today.
Yes. Is this making you more of a baseball fan, Brett? I know sometimes you like to be like, I'm no Tim Van Boren, I'm not a big sports fan, but this has to be convincing you.
Well, it usually takes a little convincing for me to get to cover a baseball assignment. But the thing that did it for me this time, Haley, was the fact that I can say that I'm one of the tallest people in the room. So I'll do it. I'll do it if I can at least claim that. And thankfully, some of these kids, they're up there, but I'm still one of the taller ones, so that's good. And we talked this morning too. My son plays ball, and I've just been thinking all day that my son will never make it to the World Series. There's no doubt in my mind. I love him to bits, but he's not very focused when it comes to t-ball. He's more interested in kicking dirt. So. I'm rooting. I'm like the proxy parent here, just kind of rooting on behalf of all the parents and not my own son, because I don't think he will ever make it very far with his baseball career, and that's okay.
Yes.
That's okay. No shame.
I was going to say that's the good news here for Reed is that he might not make it to the top of the T-ball league, but he is going to accomplish some great things in life, including almost passing you in height.
Well, okay, Haley. Now you don't have to get nasty.
I mean, it's all in love, Brett. We love you. Too funny. Brett Lemoyne here joining us live from outside the Argo. Brett, thanks for joining us and getting inside the watch party. Maybe you can help kind of turn the tides here for the team.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'll be cheering even louder than the kid.
Well, I don't know. If that happens, Brett won't have a voice come Monday for any more live reports, but we appreciate him zooming in with us here as we continue to follow that score. Let me give you the update again if you missed it. Currently down, bottom of the fourth, Iowa is winning 3-1, but this is very easy to come back from, and we watched them do it yesterday, so we are sending all the good vibes. We will keep you updated on this score. As we talk Little Leagues, a kind of a fun announcement for you. The MLB Little League Classic is coming up here in just a couple of days, August 23rd. And our very own Lily Zhao will be there. She will be reporting live for us from Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Again, this might sound confusing when you think, why are we sending Lily to a Little League game? It's going to be some Major League Baseball teams competing there. And yes, one of them is going to be the Milwaukee Brewers. They are taking on the Atlanta Braves there. Of course, a really kind of cool connection between those two teams when you talk about Hank Aaron, who played for both teams, who had storied careers for both teams. So it'll be cool to see them get to kind of come here and compete. Of course, this is the location of the Little League World Series. And instead of seeing the Little Leaguers for one night only, we're going to get to see some MLBers, some professional baseball players, and Lily will have you covered with all sorts of coverage. So definitely want to stay tuned for that. I think that's a very fun assignment for Lily. I'm slightly jealous, but of course it will be a very cool experience for her. We're going to take a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We'll be back with more news in just a little bit. Stay with us.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Haley Spittler here with you at 1:34 on your Friday afternoon. Want to get you out to a scene that our breaking news crew just arrived at a few minutes ago. This is in Menominee Falls, where we have seen actually a police presence. There are a couple different squad cars here on scene, but it appears that perhaps this building has been evacuated. You see all of these workers kind of sitting around outside the building, all wearing kind of their safety vests here. So we are still working on kind of confirmation as to what exactly the call is that police are responding to, why these employees perhaps needed to be evacuated as we see them gather outside. But as you can see, we do have our photojournalist here on scene. We are working to get you those answers, and as soon as we have any new details that we are able to share, we will bring those to you live right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. But you can tell, I mean, a pretty significant amount of employees kind of standing or sitting outside here at 1:35 in the afternoon. Again, this is in Menominee Falls, and while you can't see it right now, there are a couple of patrol cars also on scene. So we do know police have responded to whatever sort of call that this was. And again, as soon as we have any clarification and confirmation, we'll bring you the very latest right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. In the meantime, want to let you know a couple of other things that we are awaiting momentarily that we do plan on bringing you live here on the Live Desk. Today in this courtroom, we will see Jorge Alvarez Mathuzima. He will be sentenced today. Now, this is the man who is accused of driving drunk and causing a fiery crash on I-43. We were showing some video of that crash earlier on Wake Up, and it is a scary sight to see. And in that crash, a woman was seriously hurt. She was actually 5 months pregnant at the time, and because of the crash, doctors say that caused the death of her unborn child. Again, this all happening back in October. At the time, a Milwaukee County sheriff said that Alvarez Mathuzima drove the wrong way past a squad car, which kind of indicated something might be wrong here. And then toxicology tests showed that his blood alcohol content was nearly twice the legal limit in Wisconsin. So again, that individual set to be sentenced here momentarily in this courtroom. Our crew is already here on scene, and we'll bring you the updates. Again, we'll bring you that sentencing in its entirety. We are able to stream that for you. But again, that man is going to be sentenced today in this OWI crash that did result in the death of an unborn child. So as soon as this is underway, there's a couple other cases they seem to be calling first. We are going to bring that to you right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. A couple of other things that we have been monitoring today. One of them is actually a story that really follows one that we've brought you earlier this week. If you remember, we were on scene at a breaking news scene when this man on the left, this is Thomas Zolikoffer, was detained. It was quite the scene, actually, as we watched a lot of police officers and even U.S. Marshals seemingly use some sort of a non-lethal device to eventually tackle him to the ground. He was put in handcuffs and walked to a squad car. Ultimately, we learned he was arrested in connection to those 3 homicides back on Saturday. It was 2 women and a man killed in 2 different locations. That's the charges, again, that Thomas Zolikoffer is currently facing. We have since learned of another arrest in this kind of situation. The Milwaukee Police Department now believes that Elena Cole was actually aware of these homicides. They say that she was told by Zolikoffer that he had killed those 3 individuals, and the Milwaukee Police Department says that they really believe that she still let him stay in her home despite that confession. They actually say not only that, but she left her children in his care to go out drinking. So when we talk here about charges, again, Zolikoffer is facing 7 felonies, including 3 intentional first-degree homicide charges. Cole, which we've just learned of her arrest, facing charges now for harboring and aiding a felon, as well as 3 counts of neglecting a child. Again, they said those charges were because she left her children in his supervision to go out drinking. And the main message here from Milwaukee Police Department when they let us know about the arrest of Elena Cole here was a reminder that harboring and aiding a criminal is a crime in itself. So they say if you ever learn of this, you need to do kind of your duty as a citizen, as a community member, and let us know. You can't just protect these individuals, because that in itself is now a crime. So I do want to pull up the 3 victims in this shooting as well. Again, this happened in 2 different locations. We're told the first one was at 21st and Pierce. That is when Vanessa de Herrera was killed, as well as her friend here, Scott Buchholz. This is believed to be some sort of a domestic incident, according to Milwaukee police. And then then again, after that shooting is when police say Zollicoffer drove to 39th and Townsend and eventually shot and killed Shamarla Hare. So again, all three of these lives lost last Saturday in these two shootings, and there have been arrests since. Again, and I want to emphasize Thomas Zollicoffer, who we watched be arrested live here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, facing those 7 different felonies, including 3 intentional first-degree homicide charges. Those are for the deaths of those 3 individuals we were just looking at. And again, the new update today in this case, Elena Cole also now facing a felony here for harboring and aiding a felon, as well as 3 counts of neglecting a child. So we will continue to pass along any breaking news updates that we get when it comes to this case. We know a lot of people were very curious as to what happened last Saturday, an unfortunate situation when you learn of those 3 lives lost. If you're just tuning into the Wisconsin Live Desk, we are also monitoring a breaking news situation right now in Menominee Falls. I want to take another live look here. That's where you can see on the left-hand side of your screen here some of those Menominee Falls police officer patrol kind of squad cars. So we do know police are responding to this building here in Menominee Falls. We don't yet know why they are responding or what the call might have been that they received, but it does appear here that obviously perhaps some employees of this building have had to be evacuated. This is a very large crowd of individuals that we're watching right now, seemingly in kind of their work outfits, uniforms. We see a lot of safety vests being worn here, those bright colors as they stand or even sit. There's some sitting around a table outside here in what would be the middle of the workday. 1:41 is the time right now. So again, we are monitoring a police presence here in Menominee Falls. As soon as we have any updates for you, we will bring them to you right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. In some lighter news, another situation that we are very much watching closely, and by watching closely, we're talking even a watch party here. Again, this is at the Argo in Whitefish Bay right now, where for the second day in a row, a pretty large crowd of friends, of classmates, of teammates, of loved ones have gathered to cheer on the Whitefish Bay Little League team. Currently just one game away from making history. They would be the first team from Wisconsin to ever make it to the World Series. Kind of show you this bracket. So this is where we're at, the championship game. Look how far Wisconsin's already made it here in the Midwest Region Tournament. They're taking on Iowa as we speak right now in Indiana. The score not going in our way yet. As you can see, Iowa is currently winning here. It is 4-1. We're in the top of the 5th, which means right now at the plate would be Whitefish Bay. This is their chance to score some of these runs. Baseball is a game that people always ask me why I love it so much. Some people, think it's too long or it's not as exciting. And I always say I love baseball because you're never really out of it until the game is done. One swing of a bat can truly change an entire game. You get the bases loaded here, and all of a sudden maybe they pull the pitcher, they bring in a reliever, and you hit a homer off him. We would take the lead in one swing of the bat. So never lose faith here. I know the watch party and all of these fans are certainly not worried yet, as they still have, what would that be, the 5th, the 6th, 7th. They still got 5 chances at bat Whitefish Bay here to try. Sorry, Adrian? Oh, Adrian thinks they only play to the 6th. We don't go to the 9th? Okay, so now we're maybe getting a little closer. But my same point still matters, that one swing of the bat could change all of this. We don't actually have as many chances to bat as I thought, but we're not going to get too concerned just yet. It's not over till it's over. And like I said, when Brett Lemoyne joined us, you know what? No matter what, these players, these Whitefish Bay Little League teams should be so incredibly proud of what they have already achieved. So again, we'll let you know when we have any sort of a scoring update for you, but the watch party still very much here, gathered in attendance, hoping for a victory for their team, and we'll let you know as soon as we have any updates. It's talking baseball, though, so we should also talk Brewers. Did you know that it's a Brew Crew Tuesday next week against the Seattle Mariners? I don't want to brag, but the Brewers have yet to lose this season on a Brew Crew Tuesday. They have a perfect record, and we're hoping to continue that on Tuesday. So if you're thinking, you know, on a normal situation, you don't have the subscription, you don't have a way of watching the Milwaukee Brewers, you do have a way on Tuesday. It's completely free. Just turn on your TV to Fox 6. Again, the Brewers taking on the Seattle Mariners. 6:30 is when the game coverage starts, but we always like to say really turn on your TV to Fox 6 closer to 4. We'll have it on all day. That would be great. But at 4 o'clock is when we're going to start the pre-game fun. We send our team out live to AmFam. It's truly a blast. Also right now, we could use your help. We're currently collecting questions. Excuse me, I need a little water. The questions for Ted Perry to bring to his 6-pack of questions segment. And this week we get to chat with Brewers pitcher Robert Gasser. So if you have a question for Robert Gasser, just go ahead, scan that QR code right there on your screen. It will take you to the submission form. I promise you, Ted Perry looks through every single one of these submissions to narrow it down to 6. Sometimes if he's able to, he'll combine a couple questions to really stretch the amount we can of you that we can include in those 6-pack of questions. But again, you can ask a very sportsy question or you can ask a super fun question. I mean, we always love learning about their walk-up song kind of choices here. We always love hearing who on the team they're friends with, who on the team they would trust with XYZ. So go ahead, submit your questions now. Ted Perry will peruse those. Really, honestly, I think he narrows it down the day of Tuesday. So you always have some time if you want to think about it, what your question will be. But as a reminder, go ahead, submit them if you already have them by just scanning that QR code right there. Always a fun day when it's a Brew Crew Tuesday. I feel like the energy in the station is just that much more excited too. So hopefully we can continue our perfect record of the Brewers winning on Brew Crew Tuesday, because I'm very proud of that feat. So again, that'll be a fun one when Seattle's here in town in Milwaukee. We'll take a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We'll get you back out to more news right after this.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Haley Spittler here with you at 1:48. Want to get us back out to the breaking news scene where our photojournalist is. Have a little bit of new information for you guys. Obviously, again, we continue to see a pretty large presence here of employees having to stand outside of their building in the middle of the workday, as it's 1:48 this afternoon, still wearing, you know, the uniform they would be inside, those safety vests, those bright colors. We do know Menominee Falls Police has responded. We've seen their patrol cars out and about. Our PJ says that our photojournalist says that those cops are in the Briggs and Stratton lot right now. Again, this is happening in Menominee Falls. And we've also learned from our assignment desk here, who's working to make those phone calls, confirm what exactly is happening. She was able to talk with Menominee Falls Police Department over the phone, and via that phone call, the police have told us they are currently still investigating, so they have no information to share. Besides that, the call that got the police to respond here was for a potential bomb threat. However, they say that has not been confirmed whether or not that is a valid situation that's happening. But we do know police were at least called to this scene for a potential bomb threat. That is what they are actively investigating. But at this time, they have no additional information to share with us. So seemingly these employees have all had to evacuate because of that call for a potential bomb threat. Again, we have no confirmation that it is real at this point, but we will absolutely update you as we continue to get that new information into our newsroom. But again, a pretty large crowd here of employees, you know, walking around, standing around, sitting around, not being able to perform their jobs right now, as I imagine the facility and the building is having to be cleared and kind of, you know, walked through to make sure there aren't any type of devices that there seemingly was a threat about. As a reminder, our photojournalist on scene says the cops are in the Briggs and Stratton lot right now. So as we work to get you the more information and anything confirmed, did want to pass along that latest update. On a lighter side of news here, another update we can pass along. We have a scoring change here. Oh, this is excitement. We've got clapping happening right now too. Adrian, is something good happening perhaps? Adrian's on it. He's currently looking at it.
Have a score update. It's currently 2-4 right now. Wisconsin just scored.
Are we still on the top of the fifth? Okay, so this is the scoring update. We have one more run, but based off this reaction, I would guess we maybe have another hit. We might have another runner currently on the bases. The energies are shifting here. The crowd getting excited. There's some chanting going on.
Right now, Whitefish Bay has 2 players on base.
I'm just as excited as these boys right now. There are 2 players on base, which again means we could easily tie this up in the top of the 5th. If you missed the correction, I've recently learned that Little League plays to 6 innings. So we have 2 more, innings here that we could score. We've already got 1 run in the top of the 5th. We have the potential to get, 2, 3 more runs here. So we are absolutely rooting for Whitefish Bay as the energy really shifting here in the last couple of moments. Look at the excitement. We got clapping, we got chanting, people kind of wanting to adjust their seats here, kind of stand up a little bit more, and we will let you know as soon as we have some updates. Look at some more clapping. This could be good. Maybe someone's walking. Maybe someone else is on base. Adrian's kind of my knowledge as to what's
an eye out.
Actually happening on the game, so we appreciate that. I just can judge based off the crowd reaction here. So again, the update that we have score-wise, which is going in the right direction now. Wisconsin recently scoring here in the top of the 5th. It is now 4-2. Iowa's still winning. And if you're wondering why we care so much about a Little League baseball game, again, this is what we're looking at right now. It's the championship game happening live in Indiana between Iowa and Wisconsin. Wisconsin would be the Whitefish Bay Little League team, which means whoever wins here will advance to the Little League World Series. Wisconsin has never advanced to the Little League World Series. This would be the first time ever in state history. So obviously we are very, very excited. I like the rally. This one boy, just look at them now standing on their chairs, heavily invested here, rooting for their teammates, their classmates, their loved ones, their friends. Hopefully we have another good report here shortly. But again, at least we picked up.
Chiming in here, we've got some bad news. We're into the bottom of the 5th now.
We didn't score
just
the 2 runners.
Just had a strikeout, so those 2 runners are stranded.
That's
going
okay,
into
though.
the bottom of the 5th. Still time.
Baseball's a mental game. Now we've shaken that pitcher. Okay, so now they're going to be worried, and we're going to get a couple more hits in the top of the sixth. Adrian's right. We'll continue to keep our eye on this feed and see what updates that we can bring you guys as we continue to root so hard for Whitefish Bay's Little League team. But no matter what, I want to keep emphasizing that these young athletes have so much to be proud of. This is truly remarkable. I mean, let's pull up the bracket again so you can see what I mean. Look at all the games that they've already won. First of all, look at their first game. They crushed Kansas. They won 10-0. And again, we've now watched them make it all the way here to the championship game for the Midwest region. We're really hoping that they can walk away victorious against Iowa, but we'll let you know as soon as we have any updates. In the meantime, want to get us back to breaking news just because we can now see an officer here kind of walking around showing us the investigation still underway. As a reminder, this is a live look right now in Menominee Falls where we had seen police respond. We saw several of their kind of squad cars pull up here. We know that they're kind of parked, according to our photojournalist, in the Briggs and Stratton lot. And we have since learned, as you see, actually a canine officer here being walked by another police officer, potentially, went and sniffed out that scene. Again, we saw this large crowd of workers and employees having to stand around, sit outside. It seemed like they had potentially been evacuated from a building. What we've learned from Menominee Falls Police Department via a phone call, they said they were originally called here to the site for a potential bomb threat. However, that has not been confirmed to be a real threat by any means. They say they're still investigating, so they have no information to share at this time. But those employees still very much evacuated, still outside right now in the midst of their workday, not being able to complete their normal, responsibilities and tasks as they just stand around waiting for police responding to this reported bomb threat. Again, they have not confirmed the validity of this threat. We just saw, as I mentioned, officers walking around. There was a canine officer that seemed to be used here on the scene as well. And now we can watch some of these officers maybe making their way back, inside the building, some investigators as this investigation underway. As soon as we have any new information, we are going to pass that along for you right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. But you can see certainly still an active scene here as the police are still here, as they walk around, as they communicate, as they work on this investigation. So while we know they responded to an initial call about a reported bomb threat, we still don't know whether or not that was a real threat or not. So definitely stick with us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We'll continue to bring you the latest on this breaking news. For now, we'll take a quick break and we'll be back with more right after this.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Haley Spittler here with you at 1:58 on your Friday afternoon. Want to get us back out to a breaking news scene we're currently responding to in Menominee Falls as we watch this police officer potentially actually be leaving the scene, which could indicate maybe some progress here in an investigation. But again, if you're just joining us, we have been following a breaking news situation. We did know here from our photojournalist that a lot of these officers had been parked in the Briggs and Stratton lot. And as we pan over to this area, we've seen a lot of employees seemingly need to be evacuated from whatever building they were inside. You can see them all wearing kind of their work uniforms, their safety gear, these bright vests and bright colored shirts, having to just stand around and sit around in the middle of the workday, not being able to complete any of their tasks. So we did learn from Menominee Falls Police Department over the phone that they were initially called here for a potential bomb threat. That is why they responded to the scene. However, nothing has been confirmed. So they are still investigating that threat. They have no information to share. At this point, we don't know if this was a valid threat or not. We just know that obviously it was being taken seriously as we see these employees be evacuated and we see police respond. We watched some officers and investigators kind of be walking around outside in that parking lot. At one point, we saw a canine officer as well, so seemingly being used as part of this investigation, probably seeing if that canine officer was detecting any sort of a weapon here or a potential bomb. But as we know at this point, police did confirm to us, the Menominee Falls Police Department over the phone, that they initially responded to this breaking news scene because of a call for a potential bomb threat. That's again why a large amount of employees, I know we're showing you some of them here, this is a very large amount, a group of employees both sitting and standing and kind of waiting around here, have evacuated this building in Menominee Falls. As I mentioned, as soon as we have any updates, we will pass them along to you right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. There's a couple other things we're also monitoring right now on the live desk, waiting to begin, that once it does, we will bring it to you here on the live desk inside this courtroom. Eventually, we will bring you to a sentencing for Jorge Alvarez Mathuzima. He is set to be sentenced soon. This is a man accused of driving drunk last October and causing a fiery crash on I-43. Again, the images of that crash shown on Wake Up earlier today. Certainly a startling and a dangerous situation. In that crash, we're told from police that Jorge Alvarez Mathuzima seriously hurt the other driver involved in this, who was a pregnant woman. She was 5 months pregnant at the time of that crash, ultimately causing the death of her unborn child. Again, all of this happening back in October. Milwaukee County Sheriff telling us that Alvarez Mathuzima actually drove the wrong way past the squad, initially kind of indicating something might be off here, something might be wrong. Ultimately, a toxicology test did show Alvarez Mathuzima's blood alcohol content was nearly twice the legal limit in Wisconsin, so he was charged with that OWI. Again, sentencing expected to happen here at the Milwaukee County Courthouse. There are other cases that are kind of making their way through the docket first, but as soon as we know that it is Jorge Alvarez Mathuzima's time and he is beginning that sentencing process, we are going to bring that to you live right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. In the meantime, I want to get us out actually to the Kennedy Center. That is where NASA is currently holding a press conference about what they're doing this year, also with America's 250th birthday. This is happening live right now at the Kennedy Center, and we will go ahead and listen in.
Space Center will not have a competitor. But yes, certainly the idea is that this event, Max Power, becomes the first of many.
Hello, Max Evans for NASASpaceflight.com. I guess this can be for anybody. What can a NASA-hosted show like this provide over a show like Oshkosh, Farnborough, Paris?
Well, I'll start out just at the microphone, and I happen to be a big fan of the Oshkosh show that takes place every year. I think you're talking very, very different intent and vibes from that type of event. That is absolutely the greatest fly-in in the world, and if you attended, you probably know it is. People are camping out, and it's much more of I would say, a social event from the general aviation community. What we're talking about here is America's premier expo to showcase the technology in aerospace of the future, and it happens to be alongside a great air show. So I don't think it has a competitor within the U.S., and I think if we do our job right, it won't have one either on the world stage.
I'd just add to that, as the administrator said, those are great gatherings. They've obviously built quite a history and quite a reputation. But isn't it a shame when American companies have to go to Paris or England to announce the groundbreaking things they've done or are about to do? So we have an opportunity at this location, which happens to be an iconic part of NASA and the nation's history, to build something that, again, isn't just an air show, although that's cool, but has a real potential to rival them in its appeal to commercial partnerships.
Hi, Will Robinson.
Again, we've been listening in live here at the Kennedy Space Center as NASA officials are kind of currently answering questions of those in attendance. Again, this event was kind of all about America's 250th birthday, so we'll keep our eye on this feed. If you watch the Wisconsin Live Desk often, you know I'm actually kind of a big NASA fan. After the Artemis II mission, they really won me over, so I'm always interested to hear about the latest and greatest and the announcements and the plans for the next mission. So again, we'll keep our eye on that press conference and potentially go back out to it. But in the meantime, I wanted to go to a pretty cool announcement here in Milwaukee County. All summer long, we have had different beer garden stops pop up in our parks as the traveling beer garden was underway. And as we look at the calendar and we realize it's back to school time and summer is ending, maybe you guys were sad thinking that means we have no more beer garden visits. But I have good news for you. They're being extended. Want to go ahead and bring in here Joe joining us. This is some exciting news for our Friday afternoon. Tell me what kind of went into the decision here to extend the traveling beer garden tour kind of into the fall.
Yeah, so our beer gardens in the Milwaukee County Park System are nationally famous. We are the #1 in the country for beer gardens in our parks. And we have the pleasure this week to announce that our traveling beer garden. So what we do is we partner with Sprecher Brewing Company, and we have refurbished fire trucks that travel to our different parks. And instead of ending the season here this upcoming weekend, we were going to end one of our tours. We decided to extend both tours into September and keep those going. The public absolutely loves them. We have live music at these beer garden stops, excellent alcoholic beverages as well as non-alcoholic beverages. We have a dog company that comes out, Alta Dog, for dog exercise areas. It's just a fun atmosphere for people to come and meet within the parks and enjoy some beverages in a great park setting.
I was going to say, I feel like the answer is pretty obvious here because it's being extended. But what has kind of been the response so far this summer? I know for a lot of people, they like to go to every single tour stop because they have so much fun at these traveling beer garden tours.
They've been wildly successful. We've been doing this for 13 years now, and it's been just amazing. It gets the community together. No matter which park we go to, people gather, family, friends, neighbors, and they just enjoy the park system. And this is a great reason to get out and enjoy the parks.
It's also a great way, really, to give back to the park system, right? You guys use a lot of these proceeds and put them right back into Milwaukee County parks.
We do. It's improvements go back into the parks that we stop at. For example, we're going to McCarty Park here as one of our extended tour stops this fall. Last year, we replaced some basketball hoops at McCarty Park. We're getting the picnic shelters painted over at Greenfield Park. We've had energy efficient lighting put in, bike paths put in, ADA restrooms. So it supports your parks by going to a beer garden, enjoying a nice beverage, and then those proceeds go back to help support the park system.
And I want to emphasize this again because I know for some people, like myself, I am not a very big beer drinker. I've never really liked the taste, and I might think, oh, well, this won't really be an event for me then. But that's not the case. Tell me about some of the offerings because there really is more than just beer here.
there is more than beer. You have the food options, the soft pretzels, and we have different snacks. You can kettle corn, different snacks you can have. But also with Sprecher, the nice thing with them is they're also known for great sodas. So we offer a whole bunch of varieties of different soda options, and like you mentioned, as well as the different beer options.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, anything else you wanted to mention about what I think is a very exciting announcement here that you're extending into the fall?
Just get out and enjoy your Milwaukee County parks.
Yes, absolutely, especially when the weather's nice. I feel like the fall is the perfect time to do something like this too, so we should be really treated to a good time here. Joe, thanks so much for joining us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Great, thank you.
Do want to let you know, if you head to fox6now.com or, of course, the Fox local app, we have all of the details as far as these 2 stops that are being extended, what the times, the dates, the hours are. And on their opening day, there's celebrations where if you're there in the first 20 minutes, you get free beer and free root beer, which definitely you're going to want to put that in your calendar. Always an exciting time there. In the meantime, as we head to a break, I really quickly want to get us back out to our breaking news scene just one more time in case anyone is just joining us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. As a reminder, our crew here on scene in Menominee Falls, that is where there was quite the police presence at one time. Our photojournalist here says that he's seen 3 different cop vehicles actually leave the scene at this time. But what we can still see very clearly is some employees having to stand outside, sit outside. They've been here for, at least an hour at this point is how long our photojournalist has been here. Again, working to get confirmed information. When we talked to Menominee Falls Police Department over the phone, we did learn that the reason police responded here was for a potential bomb threat. However, nothing has been confirmed. We are still investigating. The police are, I should say, so they have no information at this time to share. Our photojournalist said as far as the parking lot that these police vehicles are in, that would be Briggs and Stratton. But we are still very much working to get more information. It does seem like these employees have had to be evacuated from their workplace for the time being, though, because of that bomb threat. We saw police officers walking around. We saw a K-9 officer walking around. So again, definitely they're working hard to figure out whether or not this was a fake, a hoax threat, or if there was any validity to this, wanting to make sure they keep everybody as safe as possible here. So as soon as we have more updates to share, we will do that right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Whoa, something just happened in Whitefish Bay. I need to pull this into a router. The kids are going crazy. Sorry, we need to get out. They are jumping around. Adrian just said this is the best news ever. They just tied it in the top of the 6. I am as electric as these kids are right now. I wish we had gotten that reaction at the very beginning. Brett said it gets very loud in this room when this type of thing happens. Let me tell you. What are these, Iowa fans? Why are they not excited? I'm just kidding. Their reaction's a little more subdued than the Wisconsin Whitefish Bay fans here. All tied up in the top of the 6th, the final inning of this Little League game, 4-4. The crowd on their feet, jumping around, screaming, hooting, hollering, chanting, clapping. The parents at one point freaking out. They have done it. They have come back. They have tied it. Now we would love to get some more runs to take the lead, maybe some insurance runs. But no matter what, we don't want them to score here in the bottom of the 6th. If anything, we want to force some extra innings here. So, wow, this is getting exciting. 4-4. If you're wondering why we care so much about this Little League game again, Whitefish Bay has the chance to make Wisconsin state history. If they win today, they advance to the Little League World Series. No one in Wisconsin has ever done that. So that's why this crowd is hyped. They had the chance to almost come back last inning. We left 2 runners on base. This time, no runners stranded. We just scored 2 runs, 4-4 tied. Are we still in the top of the 6th, Adrian?
We are still in the top of the 6th, and there's 1 man on first.
Okay, so that means we still have a chance to take the lead here in the top of the 6th. This is so exciting. I hope everyone at home is as excited as I. I think I'm the same level as these kids. This is thrilling for them coming back here in the top. I'm becoming the other kid who's nervous here. I really want this for them. I'm rooting for them. This is just such a fun time here for Whitefish Bay. We'll take a quick break here on the Live Desk. Maybe we'll score some more runs. I'll let you know right after this. everybody, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Haley Spittler here with you at 2:14 on your Friday afternoon. Moments ago here in the Milwaukee County Courthouse, we watched Jorge Alvarez Matuzima be escorted in. He is the one sitting there at that table. Again, he is set to be sentenced here momentarily. As a reminder, Jorge Alvarez Matuzima is a man accused of driving drunk and causing a fiery crash on I-43 that seriously hurt the other driver involved, who was a 5-month pregnant woman who, as a result of that crash, lost her baby. So again, he is about to be sentenced for that OWI. His toxicology tests at the time came back that his blood alcohol content was nearly twice the legal limit in Wisconsin. So let's go ahead and listen in together here to this sentencing.
Via Zoom, she has been in contact with the victim's family as well as several members of that family. They are all informed of today's date and are not have elected not to be present. There is no restitution request and no victim impact statement. There is a community victim impact statement that was filed by my VW, but there is the victim's family is not present.
Thank you.
I would ask that you find that we have complied with victim rights notification.
And the court so finds, based on this record. All right, and also have a sentencing memorandum and then also a character letter from defense. Mr. Jensen, is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor. I filed a sentencing memorandum with about 8 character letters attached to it, and then this morning I did file an additional character letter.
Okay, thank you. And I did receive those letters as well as your memorandum and have reviewed them. Okay. Right, and again, we don't have any participants on Zoom other than our victim witness advocate. And parties, you're ready to proceed, Mr. Jensen?
We are, Your Honor.
And Mr. Hubner?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so we'll start with the state. Mr. Hubner.
Thank you. Your Honor, the defendant did plead guilty to 2 counts in this case. He pled guilty to count 1, first-degree reckless homicide as an unborn child, and count 4, operating while intoxicated, causing injury, which is a misdemeanor. The state's recommendation is for prison, and I will go through the exact numbers as to why we're referring to that. I would note, Your Honor, that again, as I've indicated, the victim's family is not present. They have indicated to us that it is too much for them to be present, or at least they are unable to be there, and one can obviously understand that. The state's recommendation is for 25 years of initial confinement. Did I appropriately say that, counsel?
You did.
Your Honor, we are leaving the extended supervision up to the court. When we are attempting to determine an appropriate recommendation, we need to take into consideration a number of different factors. We need to take into consideration the character of the defendant, the serious nature of the offense, the need to protect the public, the need to send a message to the public.
Again, watching the sentencing right now, and we will get you right back out to this. In the meantime, I just want to quickly take us back out to our breaking news scene. It appears that all of the employees that have had to be evacuated in Menominee Falls are now being allowed back in the building. They've been across the street. Again, this is Briggs and Stratton here, where it appears now all these workers given the A-OK to return to work, as they now appear to be going back inside here at 218. Again, police initially responded to this scene in Menominee Falls after a report of a bomb threat. It would indicate, since employees are being kind of allowed back in here, one might assume it was a hoax. But again, we are still working on getting clarification and more information from the Menominee Falls Police Department, and we will keep you updated on this breaking news scene. Want to get you back now inside the Milwaukee County courtroom as we continue listening in to the sentencing right now. The prosecution kind of presenting to the judge what they would like to see handed down in this sentence.
And the defendant, I believe, received fines for those. We also know that the defendant was able to get his driver's license as a result of this time of this offense. So he had resolved what had occurred there. The state's recommendation is for a significant amount of prison because I think in reality, when one takes a look at the seriousness of this offense, it becomes apparent why that recommendation is appropriate. Your Honor, can you give me evidence control?
Yes.
So the court understands what we're looking at. This is obviously, if you're going towards the left, that will take you towards the home bridge. If you're coming towards the right, we can see kind of the area of where the post office, 6th Street. This is actually not that far from here. And what's going to be very important is going to be talking about kind of the two areas of traffic. The traffic that we can see
Right now, the prosecution pointing to a TV screen that I know we cannot see, but the judge can, as they talk about some of the evidence in this case. Again, he has pleaded guilty, so he has already taken that guilty plea and said he's guilty of doing this. Today's just the sentencing, so while we can't see that screen at the time being, that's what they're currently discussing.
Direction of the airport. And what I have do, and I'm going to do at this point so the court can kind of understand and see what we're looking at here, I'm going to zoom this up just a little bit so that we can see. And I currently have this at 3 seconds into the recording. Now, it is in the early morning hours of October 26th of 2025. But this is starting to get to the point where people are waking up. And while we're going to be talking about some of this is what we're looking at in terms of traffic. While traffic is light, it's not non-existent. And quite frankly, there's going to be a lot of traffic we're going to see. Playing from 3 seconds into the recording, and as it plays, Judge, the court can see that there is, in fact, traffic that is heading on that eastbound and towards the kind of entrance way, or I should say exit way. We actually had the sheriffs take photos, and we looked at photos from Google Maps. I believe that there are 2 or 3 signs that say wrong way or do not enter or things along that on the ramp that the defendant is going to be coming in on. He's going to be coming in kind of from this area, as you can see here. And as it's coming up, and I will bring it up, I'm continuing to let it roll. So the defendant is going to, at the very beginning of his entrance onto the freeway, is going to be going past a number of signs that would tell an individual that they should not be heading in this direction. He's also going to, and here he comes, this is going to be the defendant coming on, going the wrong way. There is a vehicle that's going to drive right past him, heading the wrong way, or heading the correct way, which you would hope would be an indication that he would know that he's heading the wrong direction. More importantly, I want to draw your attention to 2 more vehicles. Judge, these 2 vehicles that the court can see, both have to put their brakes on. He's heading straight towards them on this lane of freeway right here. Both of those vehicles are going to have to brake. Both of those vehicles are going to have to maneuver around the defendant. Playing from that at 121, you can see they're literally moving around each other. And then the defendant then is going to continue, not at the highest rate of speed, but is going to be continuing and now is on the ramp that is eventually going to take him towards the freeway that goes down towards the airport. Now, if the court will bear with me, I'm going to go to the next video, which is important.
Again, right now,
Your Honor,
they're kind of talking about a screen that we can't see, kind of pulling up maybe a video here is what the judge is able to see. I'm just kind of looking at the attorney here, his laptop, to kind of assume and guess what they're doing in this room, but obviously trying to present all the evidence possible here to the judge before that judge ultimately will decide a sentencing here in just a little bit.
If the court can see now, here's the defendant's vehicle. 2 cars have gone past him. A third barely missed getting hit. That car is continuing, and now he's continuing to go south. He's going down. He's continuing to move south. It's going to flip. This camera angle is going to flip right now, and here he is. One of the things that is missed in between those two camera angles is as the defendant is making the motion or the maneuver from the one freeway into the other freeway, there is a deputy sheriff. That deputy sheriff actually is heading the correct way, as one would expect him to do, sees the defendant heading the wrong way, and comes to a stop and flips on his lights in an attempt to get the defendant to stop. The defendant does not stop. The defendant goes right past the sheriff, which was yet another signal. So you have two cars on the first road that drove right up to him. He continues to go.
Again, we are right now listening in the sentencing of Jorge Alvarez Matuzima, a man accused of driving drunk and causing a crash last October on I-43 that actually seriously hurt a pregnant woman who at the time was 5 months pregnant. She was in the other vehicle that was hit here, causing the death of her unborn child back in October. As they reference some evidence here on a screen that we're unable to see, we'll take a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, but then we'll get you right back into the sentencing on the other side. Stay with us.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Haley Spittler here with you at 2:28. Want to get us back inside the courtroom here in Milwaukee County where the sentencing is underway for Jorge Alvarez Matuzima. Again, that's the man who has pleaded guilty to driving drunk last October on I-43, causing a fiery crash that ultimately seriously hurt a pregnant woman. At the time, she was 5 months pregnant, and this crash, we're told, caused the death of her unborn child. Again, this was last October. Toxicology tests did show that Alvarez Matuzima's blood alcohol content was nearly twice the legal limit in Wisconsin. We've been hearing from the prosecutor here kind of stating their case as they ask for the sentencing of the judge in this, asking for 25 years of initial confinement. So again, that's the prosecution's request. We'll hear from the defense after this and eventually what the judge hands down. So stick with us. We'll stick with this in its entirety.
Noted that this abruption would cause the loss of blood flow and in fact did lead to the fatal demise of the child. These injuries are all consistent with what happens in that sort of vehicular, quite frankly, any vehicular crash, but a head-on collision where those two vehicles end up happening, and then of course the victim's car ends up bursting into flames. They do in fact get a sample of the defendant's blood, and his BAC was 0.1569. I was impressed with the defense counsel's report. I think it spells a lot about who the defendant is And it is true, he has no prior criminal record. But the dangerous conduct here could not be more dangerous, for lack of a better term. The defendant is driving the wrong way for a significant period of time. He drives past 10 vehicles and a deputy and straight on into a woman who's just coming home from work. And I understand all of the great things that we saw in the defense counsel's report about his children, about who he is as a father. Well, he robbed this woman of the chance to be a mother. And he did so because he got drunk watching, I believe, the World Series, got into a car he never should have gotten into, drove past signs that tell him it's the wrong way, drove past multiple cars, drove past a deputy, and drove into an expectant mother. I believe when one takes a look at that, and yes, I understand the defendant has no criminal record, and I understand the defendant has accepted responsibility, and all of those are mitigating factors that I believe this court should take into consideration, and I have taken into consideration with my offer. But I do believe that 25 years of initial confinement is what's appropriate. Wrong way driving is becoming an increasing epidemic. Drunk driving is a horrible epidemic. And when you combine these two things like the defendant did, and you hurt a woman, and you rob her of her chance to be a mother, and you take away a life that will never be able to do everything that the defendant's children have done. She will never be able to, for this precious life that she never got to meet, engage in all the great things that we saw in that report that the defendant did with his children. Because after the World Series, he decided to drive home and did so the wrong way. And that's why my recommendation is appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I've heard from the state. Now we'll turn to the defense. Mr. Jensen.
All right, thank you, Judge. I just did want to correct one point that the state made for a matter of record. The video that was played, I believe, was an hour ahead. This was not
you're right.
524.
Yeah.
This was 424. So, not that I think that makes a tremendous difference in what the state said, but 424 is a little bit different than 524. So I recognize a lot of what the state is saying, and I did talk with Attorney Huebner about his recommendation, and I do understand why he's making it, but obviously, as you can see from my sentencing memorandum, I do disagree with it. I think that 10 to 12 years of initial confinement with extended supervision up to court is the appropriate sentence here, and I ask that you go with that. And another brief correction I wanted to make. The pictures that I included are not of Mr. Alvarez's children. He doesn't have children. Those are nieces and nephews of his. Okay. So I think the state did a good job of outlining all of the things that the court needs to consider. And it goes without saying that this is a serious crime and it needs a serious punishment. And both parties are recommending serious punishments. 10 to 12 years in prison is by any measure a significant amount of time and a significant punishment, particularly for someone who comes before the court with no criminal record. So it is true that on the evening of October 24th, 2025, Mr. Alvarez was with his friends watching the World Series, and early in the morning, he did decide to drive home, and he, yes, had been drinking and had been drinking too much. We saw the video, and that is accurate with what we reviewed in discovery. Mr. Alvarez drove the wrong way, and this was a very dangerous situation, and it did result in the worst case scenario. Every time that, we have an OWI case as a defense attorney or as a prosecutor or as a judge, we're always thinking about that worst case scenario, and this was it, an accident with the loss of life. This is the worst case that can happen when someone drinks and drives. But when we think about what the court needs to consider when sentencing Mr. Alvarez, I think about the character and rehabilitative needs of Mr. Alvarez, and both of them are high. I think you can see from everything that we outlined in our memorandum and all the people who wrote letters on his behalf that this is, aberrant doesn't even begin to describe it. He's got a few traffic tickets from earlier in his life, but he is, by all other fair considerations, essentially a model community member. He's close with his family, he's hardworking, he went to school, and when he went to, after he graduated from Pulaski with good grades, He eventually went back to MATC. And as you can see, as I shared a picture in my memorandum, that comes straight from MAT's website. He is featured on their website. I also included an article that they wrote about him. And if the court will give me AV control, I do have a video I'd like to play as well.
Okay. I've switched over the screens to you, Mr. Jensen.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
My MATC experience was awesome.
Again, right now, the judge now watching a video the defense is presenting as they ask them to weigh a lighter sentencing. They're asking for 10 to 12 years. The prosecution asking for 25 years initial confinement. Since, again, we can't see this video, we'll take a quick break and then we'll get you right back out to this after this.
The Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Want to get us back inside that Milwaukee County courtroom. Again, the sentencing underway right now for Jorge Alvarez Matuzima. That's who you see on the right-hand side of the screen in the kind of orange jumpsuit there. Again, pleaded guilty after being accused of driving drunk and causing a fiery crash on I-43 last October, which left the other vehicle, the pregnant woman who was driving it, seriously hurt. She was 5 months pregnant at the time, and we're told that that crash actually caused the death of her unborn child. Since then, toxicology tests showed that he had a blood alcohol content that was nearly twice the legal limit in Wisconsin. We've already heard the prosecution's request in this sentencing hearing, which was 25 years initial confinement. Defense now arguing for 10 to 12 years initial confinement. They're continuing to make their case right now to this judge, so we'll listen in live together.
They point to Mr. Alvarez as someone who, this is a success story. This is who you can become if you come to MATC. And so I think that says a lot about him, that his instructors saw a lot of potential in him. And then when he went back and got a second degree, he became a CNC machinist, which is where he was working until he was arrested. And then, you know, so in terms of his character, yes, it's very high, but also his rehabilitative needs are high. Mr. Alvarez drank, drove, and a life was ended. And so obviously his drinking is something that needs to be addressed. And anytime I have an OWI case, that is something that I ask my clients about is, well, what is your relationship like with alcohol? because by very definition, if someone is my client for an OWI case, they have some sort of drinking problem. They've been drinking and it's caused a problem. And for Mr. Alvarez, he tells me that he started drinking in his senior year of high school. In his early 20s, he was a pretty heavy drinker. He didn't drink throughout the week, but then when he did drink, he drank too much. And as you can see from the video and from my memorandum, at some point he started to become pretty successful in his career in school, and his goals changed, and he realized that drinking was not fitting in with those goals, and so he cut back. But he did still sometimes drink on the weekends, and that's what happened here. It goes without saying that he needs to address his relationship with drinking. I have advised him, and I will continue to advise him, he can never have a drink of alcohol again in his life. And I think that is absolutely his intention. And so he does need rehabilitation, and it does need to be addressed in a confined setting. I'm not asking this court to let him go out and do AODA counseling. We recognize that this is a prison case and a significant prison case. But I do not think that he needs to be punished for 25 years, because I think that's probably the thrust of most of what the state's argument for 25 years is that the need to punish is high. In terms of addressing deterrence, I think both specifically and generally, either sentence fits those. I don't think, in terms of general deterrence, I don't think that if this court adopts my recommendation and gives him 10 to 12 years, I don't think anyone would say it's okay to drink and drive and it doesn't matter what happens because I'll only go to prison for the next decade. So I think both sentences obviously fit that serious need to punish aspect. And the need to protect the community is, I would agree, high right now. Again, this is the worst case scenario when someone drinks and drives. However, what I think makes my recommendation more appropriate comes from, well, what do we need from Mr. Alvarez in this confined setting, and what do we need from him when he comes out? Mr. Alvarez is 40 years old. If this court goes with my recommendation, he will be released in his 50s. I think recidivism rates are always an important thing to consider in a situation like this. And so that's why I included that chart from the United States Sentencing Commission in my memorandum. Someone situated like Mr. Alvarez is incredibly unlikely to reoffend. People with college educations are less likely to reoffend than people who don't have a high school degree. Mr. Alvarez would fit into category 1 in criminal history under the federal sentencing guidelines. And people who are released from ages 50 to 59 have about an 11.3% reoffense rate. And I think that in Mr. Alvarez's situation, it would be even significantly lower. And so in terms of kind of circling back to rehabilitative needs, I think they need to be addressed in a confined setting, but I also think that they need to be addressed through significant extended supervision, which is also why I think this court can sentence Mr. Alvarez to 10 to 12 years of initial confinement, because the extended supervision is, I think, a very important component of any sentence, but I think particularly when we're dealing with someone like Mr. Alvarez, who has no prior criminal history, who has never done something like this before, who does have these rehabilitative needs. Extended supervision puts him back into the community, allows him to continue to encourage the almost overwhelmingly pro-social aspects of his life, with hanging over his head the fact that if he does not commit himself to sobriety, if he does not commit himself to following the rules and going to treatment and doing those things, he will be going back to prison. And I think that if this court does put significant extended supervision in lieu of initial confinement in this sentence, it does protect the community, and I think it benefits the community. You can see from all the letters that people wrote on his behalf that Mr. Alvarez is an important person in his family's life, and he's someone who other members of the community value. His school clearly values him. His job valued him. and allowing him to be out on extended supervision and to be an example for other people, I think benefits Wisconsin more than having him in prison for another 15 years. And so I am asking this court to go with my second sentencing recommendation of 10 to 12 years of initial confinement and extended supervision up to the court. This is someone who has lived almost entirely a good life and who had a terrible decision that he made that morning in October. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jensen. All right, I've heard from the attorneys, and now, Mr. Mathuzima, this is your turn to speak. Whatever you would like to say, sir. Go ahead.
Your Honor, I've written this to express my deepest apologies to this courtroom, to the Morgan family, and to the community. I stand here today with deep remorse and humility as I take responsibility for my actions. I understand that nothing I say or do can undo the damage that's been done. I also recognize the seriousness of my crime and the pain and suffering they have caused. On the day of the accident, I made the worst decision of my life by driving while intoxicated. As I reflect on that decision, I should not have been driving that night, and I should have prepared myself accordingly. And nothing justifies the harm I've caused. I am painfully aware that many see me as a monster for what I've done, and I understand why, and I don't blame them. Please know that this is not who I am. I am not a monster. I am not an evil person, and I have carried the weight of guilt for many months now, and I will have to carry this burden for the rest of my life. Upon my incarceration, I have committed myself to learning from this experience so that I never cause harm again. I have learned to appreciate my freedom and not take it for granted. I have learned to be more mindful of my own safety and the safety of others. And I've learned that the cold, hard consequences of my actions are a grim reality and not just something that only happens to others. I've realized how easily my life could have ended and how easy it is to end a life. Even though I survived the accident, my life has been completely turned upside down, as I've been stripped of my freedom and will be void of it for many years. I can only hope that my story serves our community as a prime example of the dangers of drunk driving, and that there is no such thing as having it under control. Don't risk your life or the lives of others. Make the right choice and plan accordingly. I would like to personally and humbly apologize to Mrs. Morgan for the horrifying experience that I put her through, and I send my condolences for the loss of your unborn son. Please know that I never intended to cause you so much pain and suffering, and I would never intentionally end the life of another human being. I know that words cannot truly heal the intense physical and mental trauma you have endured, and if I had the power to relive that moment, I would gladly trade places with you and sustain all of your injuries, and I would gladly trade my life for that of your unborn son. And no matter what the outcome is today, I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me. When this nightmare has come to its end, I look forward to being redeemed as an individual who has come full circle with a new and improved outlook on life that is free and clear from the influence of alcohol. And I will take this experience as my one and only wake-up call. As I begin my path to rehabilitation, I will always remember this incident as a major turning point in my life that will encourage me to be a better person and make better choices. I will end this letter by once again apologizing to the Morgan family, and I would also like to apologize to my own family and friends for letting you all down and putting you all through this. Thank you for your time.
Judge, may I ask for a brief sidebar?
Sure.
again, right now a sidebar is happening, which means we can't hear the conversation between the defense here and the judge. But again, we just heard moments ago from the defendant here in this case as we watch the sentencing. As a reminder, if you're just tuning in, this is Jorge Alvarez Matuzima. That's who we just heard address the courtroom as he's waiting for his sentencing. He pleaded guilty after he was charged of driving drunk and causing a crash on I-43 that seriously hurt the other car involved, who was a pregnant woman, 5 months pregnant at the time, causing the death of that unborn child. Now the sidebar is over. We'll turn the sound back up and listen in to the judge as he hands down the sentence.
And for everyone who's participated in this sentencing hearing, I'm just going to take a few minutes off the record. One of the things I'm going to do is review some additional materials that have been filed by defense, and I'll take a look at those materials, and I'll have a sentence ready to go in just a few minutes, everyone. So thanks. We're off the record for about 5 minutes.
Again, you heard it right there. We're going off the record for about 5 minutes as the judge looks into a couple of other things as he makes his decision here on the sentence. Prosecution asking for 25 years initial confinement. The defense there asking for 10 to 12 years. While we wait for this to come back on the record, which again the judge said will be about 5 minutes, want to keep you up to date on another story that we have been following. We are in extra innings, folks, here in the game of Whitefish Bay as they take on Iowa. Again, if they win this game, they will be the first team ever from Wisconsin to get to go to the World Series. They have tied it up, though, Iowa here in the bottom of the 7th, so it is 6-6. They have 1 out, so we're 2 outs away from going now to another extra inning in the 8th. But they do currently have a runner on 3rd and 1st. Again, just 1 out right now. This crowd that is at this watch party outside or inside the Argo right now in Whitefish Bay are so invested. You can tell what's happening in the game just off their reaction when they are stressed, like they kind of are right now, when they are thrilled, when they are happy. Again, watching right now, and I think Iowa just, it looks like after a wild pitch, Iowa just walked off with the victory. I think you're going to see the reaction here momentarily. This is heartbreaking end for Whitefish Bay. Again, this is now in extra innings, the bottom of the 7th, Iowa being declared the Midwest champions after they just walked it off in a wild pitch. That guy on 3rd able to come home. So the crowd here, obviously not a ton of strong emotions as Whitefish Bay was so close to completing the comeback, but ultimately here falling in extra innings. A total score here, 7 Iowa to 6 Whitefish Bay. But again, this team has so much to be proud of. We're still off the record in that sentencing, so I want to take a very quick break and then we'll get you into that courtroom as that judge is making his final decision right now. We'll be right back after this.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey everybody, welcome back into the Wisconsin Live Desk. Haley Spittler here with you at 2:54 on your Friday afternoon. Again, we were off the record for the last 5 minutes in this sentencing, which is just now picking back up. So we want to listen in to the judge right now.
Extraordinarily painful and difficult case, for both families. I appreciate everyone's thoughtful letters, including those filed today. There's no fixing this situation. We have the loss of a baby, and I'll be addressing it in just a moment. First, I'm going to cover the mandatory parts of this sentence. So, Mr. Matuzima, with this felony conviction, you may not possess a firearm at any time in the future. Section 941.29 of the statutes makes it another felony for anyone who has been convicted of a felony to ever possess a firearm, carrying with it its own 10-year period of imprisonment or $25,000 fine, or both. Also, you cannot vote in any election until your civil rights are restored, and you are required to provide a DNA sample to the state crime lab and to pay a DNA surcharge for each of these 2 counts. You are advised that if this conviction is reversed, set aside, or vacated, you may qualify to have that DNA sample data expunged if you meet other conditions under statute. Right. So when considering a sentence, the court looks at certain factors, and these are defined by statute, but also by cases, prior cases, and we talk about the Galleon factors. That's just the name of an older case. We start with the gravity of the offense, and here, as I noted, this is among the most painful and difficult situations any court can find itself in. We have a homicide, but it is clearly unintentional. This is not a case where the defendant intended to harm anyone, but he did something so reckless that it ended up resulting in a death, and that's the death of the baby of J.A.M. I think to give an idea of how painful this is for the individuals involved, J.A.M. and her family, from what I understand from the state, just can't even bring themselves to talk about it. That's why they're not here today. There are no statements from them. All I have are the bare facts and the video, which shows what happened. And I know, though, from a prior case where I presided, and I'll note a letter was filed by the community group that it was formed in response to that case, where it involved the death of a young mother and her unborn child, that the pain doesn't go away. And I think it shows how long that pain lasts when you consider that in that case, the crash happened almost 3 years ago, but that child's family is still involved in the group that filed the letter that the court received from the community. And it's not an understatement, I think, to say that our community, perhaps their number one issue, whenever I talk to people out in the community about what I do, what we do here in the courthouse, the concern I hear raised over and over again is reckless driving. And there are all different forms of reckless driving. Sometimes it's fleeing from the police at high speed. Sometimes it's just driving at a crazy speed through the city. Or as in this case, it's intoxicated driving. And these cases are taking lives. They're causing permanent, terrible injuries, which I've seen in many cases. These are absolutely devastating situations. And while the fact that the death was not caused intentionally, it helps a little bit. It doesn't seem to help the victim's family very much. The pain doesn't go away, and it is something that the victim's family carries with them for the rest of their lives, as far as I can tell. So when we talk about the gravity of the offense, that's where we are. We're at a Class B felony level. The only thing higher is a Class A felony, which is an intentional homicide. Now, next, we look at the character of the defendant and his rehabilitative needs. And here, there are a lot of mitigating factors. And Mr. Matuzima, you have, in many ways, led an exemplary life. If it weren't for this one incident, I think I could say you're one of the highest character individuals I've had in court. When I look at your work record, your school record, how you've handled yourself in the community, you have done so well in so many different areas of your life and in your family's life. Your character letters speak to that from your family members and friends, also your church. These are all, very positive factors, which makes your case especially difficult because you're someone who, again, has done very well. You just made an absolutely terrible decision, on October 26th last year to drive while under the influence, and not just a little bit intoxicated. You were at almost double the limit for blood alcohol content. So this is a case where you were extremely intoxicated. Clearly, and I'm sure you probably knew this at the time, you were not capable of driving safely. But you chose to drive anyway and cause this terrible accident. When I next look at your rehabilitative needs, they're, again, I would say fairly minimal. You need alcohol and drug abuse treatment, screening and treatment. That's clear from obviously your abuse of alcohol on this one occasion. I don't think that someone who has been drinking to that level of excess at age 39, as you were at the time, would be someone who does not have an alcohol problem. So it's clear to me you do need that sort of treatment, and the court will be recommending that treatment to be provided by the DOC. Otherwise, there just are not a lot of rehabilitative needs here. Honestly, I think when you are serving your sentence, you'll probably be in some ways an asset to the DOC because you might be helping to rehabilitate other individuals who are serving sentences. You have a lot of skills and education that you can help out other young men with while you're serving that sentence, and maybe that's one way you can help repay this community. But in terms of your rehabilitative needs, again, I don't see a lot here. Last, we look at the need to protect the public, and that is a very big issue here because you took an incredibly careless and reckless risk with the lives of everyone who was on the road that early morning. And I think the video shows, while it was a time when the roads are not particularly crowded, there were plenty of cars on the road. There were multiple cars that went by and that were, just by their presence, were letting you know it was time to stop. But again, I think because of your intoxication, that just didn't register. So very unfortunate, but again, you placed a lot of lives at risk with your driving that morning. In some ways, you're fortunate. There was only one death here. There could have been multiple. If you had hit a car with many passengers, this could have had an even worse result. So when we talk about the need to protect the public, that's a real issue here because you didn't endanger many people. That's our number one state sentencing objective, is protection of the community. Second, we look at your rehabilitation and how to achieve that. And finally, deterrence. And that's a real issue here because there is some debate about the court's ability to deter all types of offenses with sentencings, but this court accepts that it is an objective that's determined by statute, and it's also something that the court, I think, needs to address with the community, because the community looks to the court to do whatever it can to try to stem the tide of intoxicated driving and reckless driving. And your case is unfortunately a terrible example of what can happen when those things happen. So the court is following those goals and objectives and doing the best job it can to meet them. The court is never able to make anything better in court. All we can do is address these goals and objectives and try to make this community a little safer and try to get you on a path to return to the community in a safe way. This is not a measure in any way of the loss of the life of this child or the damage done to his mother and his family. It represents only a way to address our state sentencing goals and objectives, and the court will do the best it can to meet those goals and objectives. So with that said, the court is ready to explain the sentence. There is no restitution claim here, so the court sets restitution at 0. I'll note on count 4, the court is required to impose a fine, a minimum of at least $300. And here you did take responsibility, and that is an important positive factor I don't want to discount in any way. And I want to mention that again, because it does allow the victim's family to move on more quickly than they might have if they had had to go through a trial. It also relieves them of the fear that they might, that they don't know how a jury trial might end up. it can result in a verdict they're not expecting, but you chose to release them from that fear and take responsibility. And the court is granting you credit for that decision as well. And that's why, again, the court is imposing the minimum fine here of $300 on count 4. The court orders a revocation of your driver's license for 1 year, again, the minimum required as to count 4. With regard to other financial matters, the court waives all non-mandatory costs, surcharges, and assessments. The court does not impose any fine on count 1. The court imposes only additionally mandatory costs, surcharges, and assessments. The court directs the DOC to collect any monetary amounts ordered today at a rate to be determined by the DOC from Mr. Matazima's prison funds. Any monetary amounts that remain unpaid when Mr. Matazima is released from confinement are to be paid as a condition of extended supervision. And any monetary amounts that remain unpaid when the sentence is completed are ordered reduced to a judgment against him for that unpaid balance, and collection can then proceed as provided by statute. The court is granting credit for 291 days time served. That will be as against each of counts 1 and count 4. There are 2 counts before the court today, both related to the same incident. Count 4 relates to the injury done to JAM. That is a misdemeanor with a maximum potential sentence of 1 year, or I'm sorry, 2 years. I'm sorry, no, it's 1 year. The court is imposing that 1 year, that would be a county jail sentence, but the court is ordering that to be served concurrently with count 1. So that count 4 will be served at the same time you are serving count 1. Again, as against each of counts 1 and 4, the court grants 291 days time served credit. Concurrent with count 4 and count 1, which is the most serious count before the court, this is the loss of this child. The court does impose a sentence in between the parties' recommendations. I think for all the reasons I've discussed, that is the appropriate sentence here. And on count 1, the court is ordering a total sentence here of 25 years to be composed of 17 years of initial confinement and 8 years of extended supervision. Again, that's concurrent with count 4. And Mr. Matazima, you'll receive a copy of this written explanation of determinate sentence that explains the sentence the court is imposing today. Sir, you do have the right to appeal. Any notice of intent to pursue post-conviction relief must be filed with the clerk of this court within 20 days of sentencing. Your lawyer must continue to represent you until your decision to seek post-conviction relief or not is made. If you wish to seek that relief, your lawyer must file that notice within this 20-day time period. The court is leaving all conditions of extended supervision to the discretion of the DOC, with the exception of AODA programming. The court is ordering that you complete that programming both while in and out of custody. Parties, is there anything I haven't covered? Mr. Huebner?
No.
Okay, and Mr. Jensen?
I don't believe so, Your Honor.
Okay. Right, again, my heart goes out to everyone harmed or hurt in this incident. And Mr. Matazima, good luck, and I hope you are able to successfully complete this order. I'm confident that you are. Court is adjourned.
All right, sentencing hearing just wrapping up now for the man charged of driving drunk and causing a fiery crash on I-43, seriously injuring a pregnant woman and then causing the death of her unborn child back last October. We know that he was drunk at the time of the crash, so very emotional sentencing that we got here. We are going to take a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk and recap that in just a little bit now. We'll be right back in 2 minutes.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Major upset today for the Whitefish Bay Little League team. We were following it in the newsroom. Take a look at these photos that we have. Very intense last hour here in the FOX6 newsroom watching this team. Of course, we're rooting for them in the Midwest Championship here, but they did end up falling short to Iowa. Our Brett Lemoyne was at a watch party in Whitefish Bay, and Brett, so tough to watch.
My gosh, yeah, you just have to kind of hang your head here. But you know what? At the end of the day, this team did something that very few other teams have ever done, and I don't think any other Little League team has gone this far in terms of being so close to the World Series. Wisconsin had never gotten to the World Series before, so just this loss at the championship just makes it incredibly bittersweet. It was a nail biter, Maddie. I'll tell you that. The room just was electric all afternoon. But it wasn't until the 6th inning when Wisconsin tied it up with Iowa that things really kind of started to jolt. People popped out of their seats. There were so many loud cheers. Obviously, Wisconsin rallied there at the after the 6th inning, which was kind of par for the course, right? Because this whole season, they've been pulling out these last-minute victories. They pulled one out yesterday against Missouri to get to this spot, but ultimately it just wasn't enough to push them over the top.
Yeah, no, it's so sad to see them afterwards. We caught some kids some tears. I mean, granted how far they came, but we were all saying maybe I'm getting a little choked up here. It was a little sad, but maybe they got the curse of the Wisconsin sports. I feel like we always make it so far and then just right there, but still such a cool thing to see regardless. Any highlights? I know you had some interviews with some of the kids. I'm sure they're still going to go back to school and be like the talk of the class.
For sure. And you know what? It's just, it's no telling about the maturity of these young people that were even just here watching the game, because all of them came up afterwards. We did an interview with a couple of the kids that were in attendance, and they said, you know what? At the end of the day, they still did amazing. You know, they played a great game. They made it so far. They made Whitefish Bay proud. Obviously, it goes without saying, they made their parents proud, and their classmates and their friends. Everybody was rooting for them, and there's still a lot of pride in the accomplishments that they've been able to achieve, even though they weren't able to win today.
No, absolutely. And I mean, we even saw in the end when we were watching your shot, they were all clapping for him still at the end. So proud of these kids. And we are too here at Fox 6. Brett, thanks so much for recapping that for us. But yeah, definitely a tough loss for Whitefish Bay, but you know, still so much more to come for these kids. What bright futures they have ahead of them to make it even this far. I mean, history was made there today regardless, being able to represent Wisconsin. And even though they won't make it to the World Series this year, there's always better years to come for them. We are going to take a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We'll be right back in 2 minutes. Stay with us.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
It is 3:16. Thanks for being with us here on Fox Local. Just a little bit ago, we brought you the sentencing hearing for a wrong-way driver who ended up in a fiery crash that severely injured a pregnant woman and killed her unborn baby. We saw the sentencing right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. He was given 25 years, 17 years initial confinement, and 8 years extended supervision for that crash. Now, to give you some background on the case a little bit, I pulled up our article about when this all went down. So the crash happened around 4:30 in the morning back on October 26, 2025. The Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office said a deputy was on patrol driving north on I-43 toward the Marquette interchange when the man drove the wrong way past the squad. So as he approached Greenfield Avenue, investigators said he crashed into another vehicle. It caused the other car to roll over on its roof and then catch fire. And we saw that horrific body camera video that ended up being a rescue mission for these deputies trying to get the woman out of her car. And she was then hospitalized, and unfortunately her baby did not make it. So that driver, we know, was drunk and had tested blood alcohol content of 0.1569. That's nearly twice the legal limit in Wisconsin. So very emotional final words that we heard there from the final testimony as that got underway, as well as from the man convicted himself. We heard from him as well. So very, very emotional hearing this afternoon, leading then to the judge's sentencing again of a total sentence of 25 years. We are going to switch gears now and take you out live to New York in Nassau County. That's where President Trump is speaking right now. Let's listen in.
I consider them to be among the bravest people anywhere in the world, either that or the dumbest people in the world. With the help of our Republican majorities in Congress, I proudly signed the largest tax cuts in American history just now. Largest in American history. And they wanted to give you the largest tax increase in American history. You know, all my life I've been watching politics, and I wasn't a politician until relatively recently, but I've been watching. And I've always watched politicians, Democrat, Republican, Independent, they get up and we will cut your taxes, we will cut your, even if they didn't mean it, they always said it. These people actually say, we're going to raise your taxes. We're going to drive you crazy. We're going to do things that is shocking. That's why people are leaving New York, because of those policies. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. It can't work. It just can't work. And we have to be careful, because as a federal government, we don't want to throw good money after bad. They're destroying the city. They're destroying the state. We want to be there for the state, but we don't like what's happening is a guaranteed failure. It's a guaranteed failure. It's not like, oh, maybe it'll work. It's a guaranteed failure. We have to be very careful. Under our leadership, the stock market has set almost 80 all-time highs since the election. Set another one. More Americans are working today. As I said, to me, it's one of the coolest, because, you know, they say, well, employment. They say, how's Trump doing in the economy? He's at 42. 42? We built the greatest machine in history. It's the greatest in history. More money invested, as I said, $19.2 trillion with a T, $19.2 trillion. And they say, how's he doing on the economy? Oh, he's okay. Not okay. When I say we have the most people working, and by the way, the fake news, you see those people? If I'm wrong by, I have to be very careful, because if I'm wrong by a half a point, it's headlines all over the place. When other presidents or Democrats make mistakes, that's okay. But if I misstate something slightly, just a little bit, like a half a point, quarter of a point, it's headlines all over the world. Which keeps me extremely honest, I must be honest with you. Under my most favored nation policy on drug prices, we're delivering the largest prescription drug price cuts in the history of our country by far. With price differences of 400, 500, and even 600%. And the headline in most of the papers this morning was the largest drug price decrease in 65 years. And that alone should win us the midterms, really. That alone, because that reduces health care, reduces everything. For decades, Americans paid the highest prices for prescription drugs. We paid more for prescription drugs than anywhere in the world, and now we pay the lowest price anywhere in the world for prescription drugs. And I could tell you how I did it, but it's too boring. All I know is you had to get other countries to agree, and I got every one of them to agree. You know why? If they weren't going to do it, I said, I'm going to raise tariffs on you. I'm going to put 100% tariff. It's going to be 10 times more. Sir, we'd love to do it. We'd be honored to double our prices. They had to double their prices in order for us to get the reduction. But think of that, 400, 500, 600%. We should win the midterms on that alone. We're making the largest ever investment in the United States Armed Forces. Our armed forces are the best in the world. I built it during my first term, including Space Force, which has turned out to be very important. And now we're using it. We won in Venezuela, which is now working with what nobody's ever seen. We're taking millions and millions of barrels of oil out every single week. And we're likewise winning big with the Islamic Republic of Iran. Nobody has any idea how successful we are. They don't want to write it, but they know. You know who knows how well we're doing? Iran. Think of it. They have no Navy. It's totally gone. 159 ships. They had a total of 159 ships. 159 ships are right now at the bottom of the sea. They had 212 very nice airplanes, some bought from the United States brilliantly through Obama. Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? Barack Hussein Obama. And every one of their airplanes is shot down. It's gone. They have no leadership. Their leadership is gone. Their first tour is gone. Their second tour is gone. Their third tour is half gone. That's one of my problems. There's nobody to negotiate with. It is a problem. I said, are you sure this guy's okay? It's the only country in the world where nobody wants to be president. But their radar's gone. All of their high intelligence equipment is gone. Their manufacturing of missiles is 82%. They still have missiles, but not a lot. They still have drones, but just a fraction of what they had. But their manufacturing is largely gone. And I read an article in one of the fake newspapers the other day. Iran is in very good position. They have 350% inflation. Their currency is valueless. I read today where their currency is of no value. And the New York Times said, Iran is doing quite well in the war. These guys, fake news is just fake news. There's nothing you can do about it. They're sick. They're just as sick as their partners, the Democrats. In just 18 months, we've turned this country completely around. Our border is secure. Our jobs are up. Inflation is way down. Investment is pouring in. Factories are opening. Our military is more powerful than it has ever been. And America is back, and our greatest victories are still to come. Our greatest victories are yet to come.
All right, this is President Trump right now live in Nassau County, New York, at the Nassau County Police Academy Center for Training and Intelligence. We are going to take a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. When we come back, we'll recap some of our top stories of the day. Stay with us.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
What a game we just got to watch here in the FOX6 newsroom. Take a look right now, not live anymore, but this was in the final innings of the Little League series for the Midwest Championship. The winner would go on to advance to the Little League World Series in Pennsylvania. It was Whitefish Bay 12U team representing Wisconsin versus Iowa. Unfortunately, game was tied, and in the very last inning, the Iowa managed to score a win. So sad. I know we were pretty sad here in the newsroom because they were on the road to making history here. They were going to be it would be the first time Wisconsin had gone to the Little League World Series. But honestly, with the run that they've had, they've already made history in itself. We just talked with Brett Lemoyne a little bit, who was at a watch party at the Argo in Whitefish Bay. A few disappointed faces, of course, but I think overall everybody is so proud of these kids and how much they accomplished. And I have a feeling they're going to be the talk of the town when they go back to school soon. So something that we were following. Guys, were you, Adrian Delaney, were you able to catch some of the game?
We were keeping tabs. We were following along. Our executive producer of streaming, Carrie, was keeping us updated with some score updates.
And I was in the newsroom. I mean, you see Carrie right there. He's the one in the plaid shirt. He's our executive producer of streaming. He was giving like play-by-play updates in our Slack channel. It was awesome. But just a great game to watch, and I'm sure it's so sad at the end of the day for these kids. I know they've worked so hard for this, but still such an incredible and historic run in itself that they had. Even when the game against Missouri, when they were able to rally again, and they did rally in this game a little bit, but just not enough to get that win. So we will be following them and cheering them on when they make it back here to Wisconsin, but still such a great representation of the state, and hopefully we'll get them next year. Also, speaking of baseball, we've got a Brew Crew Tuesday coming up. Take a look right here. It's next Tuesday at 6:30 right here on Fox 6. We're going to have our Tailgate Live special before the game starting at 5:30. It's one that you're not going to want to miss. And we also have our series 6-pack of questions. Ted Perry's baby here is this series right here, the 6-pack of questions, and this is for Brewers pitcher Robert Gasser this week. So you can scan the QR code on your screen, ask a question. Doesn't even have to be baseball related. It could be about seriously anything, and get creative. I know Ted is always looking for some outside of the box questions to be able to ask, and the team like really plays along, literally. Like, they love hearing your questions. So definitely something you want to participate for a chance to get your questions answered by a Brewers player. And this week, Robert Gasser. So scan that QR code on your screen and submit a question when you get the chance. We also have it on our website, fox6now.com. Going to take a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. When we come back, we're going to be talking with criminal defense attorney Julius Kim about Luigi Mangione after he pled guilty today to federal stalking charges. It's going to be something you don't want to miss. Stay with us.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Big development today in Manhattan, New York. Take a look right here. Luigi Mangione pleading guilty to federal stalking charges in the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. So we've all been following this case for a while now, since the killing happened back in December 2024. Some big bombshells of evidence in this case that we've seen. I'm going to bring in criminal defense attorney Julius Kim now. Julius, thanks for being with us today.
My pleasure, Maddie.
So as I was saying, we all have been following this pretty closely just because the case in itself is fascinating. From a defense attorney's perspective, what stood out to you over the past almost 2 years now?
Wow. What stood out to me right now is kind of the legal strategy that's been playing out in this case. Right now, to the general public, I think it looks like he was charged under New York law. He was charged under federal law. Both jurisdictions are prosecuting him, which is not too unusual. But to people who have been paying attention to this case, what's interesting, especially today, is the fact that Luigi Mangione pleading guilty in federal court today may actually have an impact upon whether the state of New York can prosecute him for the murder charges in the state of New York. So this was a very intentional thing that was done by him and his lawyers, and I think that's what's fascinating about what's going on right now.
No, that was going to be my next question, because he told the judge very matter-of-factly. He said, quote, "I shot Mr. Thompson. I knew what I was doing was illegal." And I know you talked about strategy here, so does an admission like that, without making the victims endure a long trial, earn him mercy for his sentencing at all?
Yeah, it could, but in all honesty, in a case like this, I think that if someone's convicted of the crimes that he's facing, the writing's kind of on the wall for these situations. But number one, his admission in court today that he did in fact murder Mr. Thompson is admissible in the future case, the future trial that's set in New York. And I think that's scheduled to begin sometime in the beginning of September, maybe September 9th, around there. However, those words were very intentionally chosen. He made that admission in court today while pleading to a federal stalking charge. He pled to federal stalking resulting in death. But the reason why he admitted that he killed Mr. Thompson is because using those words, he's trying to bring in this double jeopardy claim, this double jeopardy argument that his lawyers have pending in New York State court right now. And double jeopardy is the principle that you can't get prosecuted for the same event, the same crime twice. And so by admitting that he killed Mr. Thompson today in the stalking charges, their hope is that that will somehow bar the state of New York from prosecuting him for murder.
How realistic is that to work in the defense's favor?
Yeah, this is kind of like a John Grisham novel, because this is a unique situation in that the state of New York has a very unique double jeopardy law. The state of New York has a double jeopardy law that is actually more inclusive, more protective than virtually every other state in the union. And the New York's double jeopardy law prohibits prosecutions for the same transaction, for the same crime, even if it's being prosecuted by different jurisdictions. So in New York, if Luigi Mangione was prosecuted and convicted of incident A in federal court, usually that doesn't bar a state from going after the person for the same crime in state court, because they're two different jurisdictions. But in New York, that could actually bar the state of New York from prosecuting, because Luigi Mangione's attorneys are going to argue that it's out of the same transaction, it's the same crime for all intents and purposes.
And I think what makes this so complicated to understand for like the regular person like me is that there are two different cases. One is state and one is federal. Say they are able to get rid of this, erase the trial that's coming, would he still be sentenced with the same amount of prison time as if it was for murder?
Yeah, that is the rub of all of this, Maddie, and you hit the nail on the head by bringing this issue up. Right now, in federal court, the maximum penalty that Luigi Mangione faces in federal court is life in prison. Now, that's not great either, obviously. Life in prison is life in prison. But Luigi Mangione was not facing any crimes that could result in the death penalty in federal court. That's different in New York. In New York, if he gets convicted of the crimes that he's charged with in New York, the murder charges, the death penalty is on the table. So essentially, if they are successful in arguing that double jeopardy bars the state of New York from prosecuting him for that offense, essentially that's removed the death penalty off the table for this offense, and it was a pretty horrific offense.
So now that we're kind of waiting to see how this will play out, what's the timeline here? How long do they have to figure out whether or not the double jeopardy can be enacted?
Yes, if I'm correct, and the New York's trial is scheduled to start in the beginning of September sometime, I think that the judge is going to have to make a ruling on this before that trial date. So it's coming up pretty quickly. I don't know the exact court date when a decision has been set for the judge to make an actual ruling on this issue, but I believe that Mr. Mangione's attorneys have already submitted the motion to dismiss the case based upon double jeopardy, and that the state has responded. But that motion might not have been quite ripe yet, because at that time, until today, Luigi Mangione had not pleaded guilty to the federal charges yet. So I think that the fact that we had guilty pleas in the federal charges today, now everything's become ripe. Now the issue becomes something that is actually on hand and before the court to decide. It's got to happen before that trial date of September 9th.
So now it's kind of a waiting game. So we could expect this decision to be made anytime before September. It's just kind of a matter of whenever the judge makes the decision and announces it.
Yeah, and another thing that could happen that it wouldn't surprise me is if the judge decides to postpone the trial, to move the jury trial date back. There was actually a little bit of competition, so to speak, between the state prosecutors and the federal prosecutors in this case. Which person would have the first kick at the cat, so to speak, on Luigi Mangione? And I think that the understanding was that New York was going to have the first opportunity to prosecute Luigi Mangione, so that we don't run into all these double jeopardy issues. And that's why this trial was set so quickly. Now that the federal case has been resolved, though, with these guilty pleas, there's less pressure on the New York State judge to get this trial done quickly. And so I could also foresee the judge adjourning the trial date in September for a later date, so that both parties have a better opportunity to brief the issues, argue the issues, and then he could decide.
If the murder trial, and it works in the defense's favor, where it is just erased because of the double jeopardy, what does the public kind of lose out on, and as well as like the victim's family? Because I know there's been a lot of nuance in this case, a lot of really interesting details, and a lot of unanswered questions.
Yeah, what the public loses out on is the state of New York, the citizens of the state of New York get to lose out on Luigi Mangione being prosecuted for committing a murder in violation of the laws of the state of New York. And stalking resulting in death just does not have the same kind of feeling, does not have the same kind of resolution, perhaps, in even Luigi Mangione's family's minds. In my mind, having someone convicted of murder versus getting convicted of stalking resulting in murder has just a different way that it pings on your ear, right? And so the family might potentially be robbed of having that knowledge of Luigi Mangione being found guilty by a jury in the state of New York of murder, even though for all intents and purposes, Luigi Mangione is probably going to spend the rest of his life in prison based upon the facts and circumstances of what happened. But that is what could happen if the state court case gets dismissed.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out over the next few weeks. Julius, anything else you'd like to add?
No, I don't think so. I think that we covered everything in the case, but it's really interesting. This is one where, because it's a unique fact situation where someone committed this offense that violated a murder of both federal law and state law in the state of New York, that's got these extra protections involved. And also there was a little bit of tension between the federal government and the state government. The federal government decided to issue they decided to up the charges in Luigi Mangione's case and pursue more aggressively once there was a change in administration. And so all of these things have an impact on, as you pointed out earlier, on real people's lives. The family of Luigi Mangione, unfortunately, is getting caught in the middle of all this. But in the end, I think that, especially given the plea that there was today in federal court, he's probably looking at the rest of his life in prison.
Yeah, Julius, thank you so much. It's always so interesting to have you on to break things down, because it is such a complicated case to look at, again, from, I like to say, a normal, but non-lawyer perspective, of course. So we'll have to check in if there's any new developments, of course, over the next few weeks. But thanks for joining us here today. We are going to take a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, but we'll be right back in 2 minutes. Stay with us.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Thanks for being with us on your Friday afternoon. Let's take a look right now at the radar. This is down by Hawaii, where Tropical Storm Lala is expected to make landfall in the state any day. It actually did strengthen into a hurricane as it passed over. And of course, right as I was in the middle of talking about it, the graphic did go away. But just to get a little bit of insight as to what's actually going on here. So it's closing in on Hawaii and is expected to strengthen into a Category 1 hurricane as it passes south of the islands this weekend. But it will still deliver intense wind, rain, and mudslides as the state braces for the strongest storm in years, actually. So this is something that we have been monitoring. And our Stephanie Barkello is actually going to check in with a hurricane specialist at the Fox Weather headquarters during Fox 6 News at 4. It's not something you'll want to miss. So be sure to stay tuned. Keep it right here on Fox Local. We've got you covered on all things Tropical Storm Lala, and as it makes landfall, we will be sure to bring you the very latest here. But we know Hawaii is under a state of emergency issued by Governor Josh Shapiro. So all hands on deck situation here as the island does brace for this hurricane that is expected to strengthen into a hurricane by the time it does make landfall this weekend. So again, stay tuned. Fox 6 News at 4. We'll get to check in with a Fox Weather hurricane specialist interviewed by our meteorologist, Stephanie Barkello. Not something you're going to want to miss. Taking a live look outside closer to home at our weather here. This is a live look from our Estabrook Park camera. Fog appearing to clear up as we sit in the 70s. The sun also coming out, making for hopefully a dry weekend here in southeast Wisconsin. We checked in earlier with our meteorologist, Lisa Michaels, who's giving us some insight, saying that we should be dry for the weekend. We do have a chance of storms for tomorrow earlier in the day, but other than that, we should be chilling ahead of this weekend. Some other news that we're following today, the City Council is considering community partnership with Buc-ee's. We know there's been a lot of hype around Buc-ee's since they broke ground actually a few weeks ago in Oak Creek for the first location in Wisconsin. The Oak Creek Common Council will consider a community partnership agreement with Buc-ee's at its Tuesday, August 18th meeting. So that would be next week now. The agreement represents the final public action in the city's work with Buc-ee's as the company builds its first, again, Wisconsin Travel Center in Oak Creek. I know there's been a lot of hype around Buc-ee's. People in the South love it as well. So Buc-ee's will make a one-time $350,000 community project contribution, provide $150,000 annually to city marketing to rename segment of Elm Road to Buc-ee's Boulevard, pay for signage installation, include an Oak Creek panel on its sign, and provide space for a Visit Oak Creek info kiosk. Honestly, if I was Oak Creek, I'd be capitalizing on this too, because this is a huge thing. I always think of the sign when I'm driving home back to Illinois. I know, I always feel funny saying I'm from Illinois, guys. I love Wisconsin, though, so much. But I always think of that huge billboard that says Buc-ee's, and then it says, like, 560 miles away, because that's the draw, is people, when they're on road trips, they want to come to Buc-ee's. So the fact that, well, first off, that billboard's going to have to be removed, because there's going to be one way closer than that when this Buc-ee's officially gets up and underway. Is expected to finish construction sometime next year. So we have been following the story for years now, actually, I want to say, since the idea was first floated. There's been several meetings, hurdles to get through the city council, and then also the phases of the projects right now. But of course, big things happening last month where they did officially break ground on that site. So potential partnership that they will be considering at the meeting on Tuesday. Remember, Common Council meetings are public, so if you want to attend as well, that you can. But again, big development here for Buc-ee's. Delaney and Adrian, have you guys ever been to a Buc-ee's?
I have never been to a Buc-ee's, but I have seen that sign that you're referring to. It's like the one that's like 100-something miles away. I've seen that plenty of times, and I think they changed it recently. It was something like words that start with W, X, Y, and Z, and it's like, you're welcome if you're playing the letter game on your road trip.
Oh, yeah. No, I think I know what you're talking about, too. But yeah, it's like, I always love looking at the billboards when I'm driving, because it's such I mean, we both probably make that drive sometimes if we're going home, but like, yeah, I'm always looking at the billboards. But Delaney, have you ever been to a Buc-ee's?
I have not.
Guys, none of us have been to a Buc-ee's. Nobody can vouch for Buc-ee's right now.
We're waiting for Oak Creek, I guess.
But what do they call it? They call it like the Disneyland of gas stations, because people say there's so much you can do at Buc-ee's. People also rave about the brisket at Buc-ee's. Apparently it's like fantastic.
I've heard that.
What else have you guys heard about Buc-ee's? These are just things that I'm like throwing out, and then my friends are also like, how have you never been to a Buc-ee's?
I'm talking to Matt, our 4 p.m. producer, and he says he's been to many Buc-ee's. He was shocked that both of us haven't been to Buc-ee's, and I'm sure he'd be shocked to learn that Maddie also hasn't been to a Buc-ee's. He just shook his head.
Wait, get him on a mic.
He says we're not living.
Matt, I need to know more. Is he right there?
He's standing right by us, yeah.
Give him a mic. I can't believe out of the
We're
three
getting
of
it
us,
mic'd up right now.
There's got to be some stat like 1 in 3 people you know have been to Buc-ee's or something. Okay, here he goes. He's dialing in. Matt, I'm sorry that we've never been to Buc-ee's.
What the heck is going on?
Are we missing out?
You're missing out.
What's the best part about Buc-ee's?
Oh, just the pandemonium of Buc-ee's. It's packed. People are going nuts everywhere. There's fresh brisket being made.
That's the big thing. Everyone talks about this brisket. Would you rank it better than like a restaurant biscuit?
I mean,
brisket?
It's, I mean, it is what it is, but it's fresh right there. They make it. They yell when it comes out the board. Fresh brisket on the board. It's nuts in there. You just got to go in there for that.
Paint a picture for me. So like you walk in, I know there's merch and there's a store. Is there a place to sit down and eat the brisket, or is it like a to-go type of brisket?
Oh, it's a to-go. It's like, yeah, there's nowhere to eat, to sit down and eat, but whatever your imagination, they have so much jerky, chips, soda, drinks, anything you want in the world. You just, it's overwhelming, and people are going nuts. They're running around. The bathrooms are super clean. Everybody uses the bathrooms. It's great. I highly recommend going to Buc-ee's. It's gonna, once it gets here, it's gonna, the newness of like, hey, we're going somewhere, we can go to a Buc-ee's is gonna wear off, because it's gonna be right here.
That's true, but I feel like it'll be big though, even for our friends down in Illinois, because there's no Buc-ee's there either. I feel like people are gonna come up just to go.
Oh, 100%. People from Illinois, Iowa will be coming here, Minnesota, Upper Peninsula, they'll be coming.
Wow.
Everybody will come to the Buc-ee's. Because I didn't know anything. This was
Adrian's just intently listening. He's
3 years
fascinated.
ago, we went down, my wife and I went down to the Gulf Shores, Alabama. Drove down there. I had no idea. I had never heard of a Buc-ee's. And suddenly there was a sign that said, 99 miles to the Buc-ee's. And I said, well, we're stopping. And my wife goes, you don't even know what that is. I go, doesn't matter. It said 99 miles. It must be good. So we stopped and they're like, see, it was good.
That's a prime example of the billboard working, because we were just talking about the one on 41 heading into Illinois. It's like 500 something miles to get to Buc-ee's, and it worked on you. Honestly, it's worked on me, but I can't justify driving that far. I feel like if it had like the 99 miles, I'd do the same thing though.
Yeah, wherever. I mean, it's just a matter of like, we went this summer, we were down in Georgia, drove down to Georgia for a wedding and stopped in Tennessee, and there were a couple Buc-ee's. So of course, we got to stop at the Buc-ee's.
Gotta stop at the Buc-ee's. All right, we're gonna take a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. So great. Honestly, somebody get Matt Kiesling a Buc-ee's t-shirt or make him the Buc-ee's spokesperson, because if that doesn't make you want to go, I don't know what will. We'll be right back in 2 minutes to wrap things up.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Thanks for being with us, and this means if you're still watching, you didn't have enough Buc-ee's talk, or you at least weren't sick of the Buc-ee's talk and are as excited as some of the people are here in our newsroom. And earlier, excited about another thing. Take a look. This is when they were watching the Whitefish Bay Little League series right now, the Midwest Championship. Whitefish Bay, the 12U team representing Wisconsin in this championship against Iowa. Unfortunately, a bit of an upset here. They did end up losing, so it was really sad to watch, but, you know, it was great. They had such a great run here. And I mean, look at all the support we have here in the newsroom. We can only imagine what watch parties were like across the state of Wisconsin. We know our Brett Lemoyne was at one at the Argo in Whitefish Bay, and the kids were just so proud of their friends. So many people there to support. And regardless of what happened, you know, in the end, they are still champions in our hearts, and we are so proud to have such a great representation here of Wisconsin. But game got intense. I wasn't familiar with the game of Little League, but it was really fun to watch these kids. You know, especially like check in with Brett Lemoyne, get the different interviews at the watch parties, and we wish them all the best. And hopefully we can get another win in the coming years. But we are out of time here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. So much to come. Tune into Fox 6 News at 4 and keep it right here on Fox Local. That'll be up in 2 minutes. Got a lot of stuff planned for you, including another report from our Brett Lemoyne, just kind of recapping what the watch party was like today. As well as, again, we're tracking Tropical Storm Lala. We're going to talk to somebody at the Fox Weather HQ, a hurricane specialist, interviewed by our meteorologist, Stephanie Barrichello. That and so much more coming up. You're not going to want to miss it. Thanks for being with me here. I'll see you guys on Monday.